Hello, can we start?
Yes, sir, we can start.
Right. Namaste, good morning, Vanakkam, Kushamdeen to all of you, to each and every one of you. I am Colonel Shekhar, the Chief Development Officer of Jagran Education Foundation, but much more importantly, a well-wisher of ScooNews. On behalf of Ravi Santlani and the entire team representing ScooNews, it's a very warm, it's extremely warm in the northern part of India, and an affectionate welcome to all of you, to each and every one of you. Mr. Ravi and his family have been down with COVID. It has been an especially tough time for the family. And I'm delighted that the team under his leadership has been independent and have put together this wonderful series of webinars. For once, this entire series is focused on the less heard, but equally, if not more competent school leaders. They are from various parts of India, divided into 6 panel discussions. And I'll request each and every one of you to share this with the maximum number of people through Facebook, through Zoom, as we already have, through YouTube, because this is perhaps India's most respected educational forum where we have a frank and a consistent way of discussing and hopefully coming up with a lot of solutions. Today, as I make the welcome and the introductory note to all of you and each and every one of you, there is this vague sense of uneasiness. We talk about VUCA, that's one of the sessions we have. We talk about disinformation, we talk about vaccination, we talk about hybrid learning. All these topics are relevant, but at the midst of it all, there is a small but consistent gnaw in your mind and heart. What's going to happen next now? Who is going to be affected with COVID? Who is the family member who is going to face up to it? What do we do with my grandmother? How do we take care of my grandfather? How can I help my friend? Where is remdesivir? Where is vaccination? In the midst of all of this, we have schools to run. We have exams to be conducted. We have fees to be collected. We have teachers to be paid. We have loans to be paid. We have school leaders who have lost their teachers and family members and struggling socially and emotionally. But as is always said, the show must go on. Time, that very second which we talk about, neither goes fast nor goes slow. It's our mindset and the brains behind it and the context in which we live, which moves fast or faster. So ladies and gentlemen, teachers, school owners, school principals, vice principals, coordinators, parents, students, come, join in our journey. Over the next 2 days, we have 3 + 3, 6 sessions. And at the end of it all the panel moderators would have a summarized discussion wherein we try and share and understand what are the big learnings. Zoom calls, Google calls, and WebEx calls have become now the most boring thing. As much as we want to avoid them, we are inevitably hooked onto them today, with still over 2 lakh cases in India today officially reported. With these words, I welcome once again all of you, each and every one of you, and especially my fellow panelists to this conversation. As you can see, I am the session chair and my hair is reasonably white. So for some reason, ScooNews decided that the one with the whitest of hair will be the moderator. And we have 7 very distinguished school leaders and the parent and somebody who has been an entrepreneur too. I would not spend time introducing them formally. As the conversation starts, you would know them better. And I would straight away now go into the interactive session. If Vinay, we can go into the panel discussion. The COVID-19 context, challenges posed, and what schools are doing worldwide. Yes, the questions are quite clear. February 2020, we were among the happiest teachers and principals and owners in the world. Exams were going to come. Some virus was somewhere in Wuhan. In the southernmost state of Kerala, we had a couple of cases. Utna zyada halla nahi tha. We were smug. Till the time it reaches our doorstep, we wouldn't care about it. And then we had the Janta curfew, the regular curfew and lockdowns. We somehow went over the first wave. Online education became the new nirvana, the new mantra. It became so much so that all the tech companies made tons of money out of it initially. Don't ask them now. We thought things will improve by March 2021. We were kind of little apprehensive. Hey presto, we have had a second wave. So my first question, and this time we have panelists where we have more men than women. One of my standard jokes when I speak in any panel discussion is, in India, the male school leader is rarer than the tiger. It's the women who dominate. And at home, all of you, I understand, are married. You know how dominant women are. So it's right in much more being gene balanced and also to be politically correct. I start off with Priya Dikshit. How was it when the first wave started in March 2020? How is it when the second wave came up? And what is your mindset? You have a minute or so, introduce yourself and then come into the conversation. Madam Priya Dikshit, please.
Good morning. As Colonel Shekhar said, Priya Dikshit from here in Chennai, part of the Akshara Arbol International School. We do the IB and the Cambridge from the primary to grade 12. A very small community over here. If they say that ignorance is bliss, I think somewhere we all experienced that in February, March of 2020. Like you said, the virus was as tiny and the information was even smaller speck at that point of time. And when we heard of a couple of cases in Kerala, we said, okay, they would manage and things would be fine. It's like a flu. Little did we realize, probably sometime in end March, April probably of 2020 is the significance of that little virus that has really shaken all of us more than we could ever imagine in multiple different ways. Fast forward to April 2021, I think there's a new vocabulary that has featured into all of our language and the way we speak and way we do. It's about staying safe, staying fit, have you tested positive, lockdown, these are all there. I have a little nephew of 2.5-year-old who's starting school in June. And I asked him on a video call about 4 or 5 days ago saying, are you ready for school? And he said, yes, online school on the computer. So for a child like that, that has become the norm of the day. So I think we are all at a position where we are now able to deal with the information that is coming in from multiple different sources, multiple different perspectives. But beyond that, I think it is about understanding how are we consciously responding to all this news that is coming out. I think that is at the core of how we were last year to how we are today.
Right. Great answer. Thank you for sticking to the time. It's wonderful. Now, from Chennai, let me go towards Bhubaneswar, where we have had so much of the storm coming around. So I'm Satyendu. right? Handsome man as he looks like. I do not know whether he's married or not. We won't talk about it now. She talked about the consciousness and how we dealt with it. Picking up from there, what has been the conscious difference in your mindset before 2020, now in 2021, and as you look forward to the next year? It's a slightly
Yeah, I think,
nuanced question. Introduce
yeah.
yourself, and your 1 minute starts now.
Yeah, so hello everyone. I am Swayam, the Chief Operating Officer for ODM Educational Group. It's an educational group based out of Bhubaneswar. And quickly coming back to the point of discussion out here. So I think, as she rightly pointed out, 2020 was more like a hit below the belt. We were unprepared for it. 2021, we were equally unprepared. Not in the sense it did not hit us that much because so at one point I think all of us are believing that schools are reopening, things will be back again fine. But it didn't work out that way. But 2021 was slightly better because we had some kind of experience in 2020. All we had to do was understand our lacunas and understand where loopholes were in terms of online teaching, online system, and probably innovate and make the system better this particular year. How we look forward is, honestly, I think hybrid learning is the thing that all of us in this organization believe. And we know that the hybrid learning is required to adjust to these kind of situations. But why hybrid? Because again, all of us belong to this fraternity. So we know this, that offline learning has no substitute. So I think the blended mode of learning is what we are looking forward to going forward. And that's it from my end. So yes.
Right, great. Blended, hitting below the belt, etc. I'm not very sure, Swam, that we are better off. At least we have some idea what's coming ahead of us. That perhaps makes us feel that we are a little more in control. Let me go towards the southernmost tip of India, Harris Madapalli. He's from Malappuram, where in Kerala we have a concept called a triple lockdown, right? Those of us, I have, as I always say, I have a wife, I have got two daughters, my mother and mother-in-law with me. That itself is automatic triple lockdown. So let me ask Harris, what is a triple lockdown and how are you looking at it from the perspective where you are in? Introduce yourself and then your 1 minute starts now. Do you agree with Swayam?
Yes, good morning, everybody. Myself, Mr. Harris Madapalli, Executive Director for PV's Public School, one of the co-ed boarding residential schools in Kerala. So, as Sir said, we are in triple lockdown. The concept is that none of you are expected to be out in the town. All the linking roads will be closed, and the shops and the groceries will be open only in alternative days. Banks, these things will be open only alternative days, and it is strict patrolling by the police officers in the town and the roads.
Okay.
And we in 2020, when the pandemic came, as Priya ma'am said, Kerala was one of the first states the cases was reported. What we took was the immediate step we have taken was to get back or to take back the students into their homes, because our parents, majority of parents are NRIs. So we have to make the students are back their home safe before the flights gets closed. So it was a very quick action we took. And also when the second wave come in 2021 March, we were almost March or April, we were almost prepared for the same, because it was not an unexpected. There was a notion in the society that there's a chance of the second wave. And this time in this triple lockdown, as Swan said, we are also moved into hybrid blended learning, and we are organizing different levels of parent induction programs in order to make parents to understand what is blended learning, how offline learning activities can be incorporated in online teaching process. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So you also believe that we are better off, we have moved forward. Mr. Dilip Patel, please put on your cap as a parent of two school-going children. The three panelists have said that things are better off today. Do you agree with them? Are the classrooms, the interactions better? What is your take on it?
Yeah, as a parent.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning, all. I'm Dilip Patil. I'm not the educationist, but as Sir said, I'm a parent of two, not school, but then college-going kids, you can say, but then still K-12. So my daughter, who is studying for IBDP 2 last year, and she has to. She started enjoying the offline thing or the online thing because she doesn't have to wake up early, and it was in the coziness of the home. So initially, the students started enjoying, and they were really happy with whatever is going on. But within 2 months, they start missing the school. They start missing the physical proximity with being the teachers and their friends. So it was not the same, and they didn't. And unfortunately, IBDP board actually cancelled the exam. So what they have toiled for, they have struggled, they have studied hard during last 1 year. They just are now content with no exam, but the predicted grade scores, which is not a happy situation for the students because they want to be tested, they want to get the real thing, exam and all this thing. And now she's here with the. So this is my take as a parent that COVID has actually made students compromise on their abilities or their skills or testing of their real skills actually. So it is not a very happy situation.
Not a very happy situation. Now let's move towards Mohit Yadav from Raipur to ask you a very provocative question. Are schools relevant today in the midst of a pandemic? Do we really require schools, or do we have to forget the schools the way we exit, throw them into the Arabian Sea or the Bay of Bengal and come up with something new? Mohit Yadav, introduce yourself and your take. Feel free to question me.
All right. Thank you, sir. I am Mohit Yadav, and I am Director Principal from amidst School Indore. And I am proud to say I am from Indore city because it's the #1 city in the form of cleanest city of the country. So I'm proud to be from Indore, #1. Second thing, very apt question. What's the need of schooling as of now? Because whatever my co-panelists have said till now, I can just finish it off in one line. Earlier, we were wanting to have technology in the schools. Now, the school is in the technology. Simple, very clear, we understand. And then your very apt question that do we really need this school? Sir, I am a firm believer that the existence of schools cannot be questioned at any point of time, neither in the past, neither in the present, and neither in the future also. The school will always be required because we need to make sure that somehow these generations need to be trained. They need to have a system where they need to be trained, their knowledge need to be transformed, their knowledge need to be given, the student need to be prepared for the future. We are guardians of the future generations. So schools would be required. But what would change is the art of schooling. The art of schooling needs to be changed. We need to reconsider that do we really require that 20 acres of school right now? Because if you will see in the current scenario, there are schools which are having 20 acres of land, 40 acres of land, or 100 acres of land. And there is a school which is having 1 acre of land in the city itself. But what is the common thing among all these schools across the country is that every school is going through an online education, and there are only limited number of platforms that they are using. It's either a mobile or laptop or technology, either Microsoft Zoom, Teams, Zoom, Google Classroom, or some applications that they're using. Now, what will matter, what will differentiate is how well we are apt with the teaching methodology. The teaching pedagogies needs to be creative. We need to have some better things to deliver. The teachers need to be more trained and creative in terms of delivering and transforming the knowledge. Let's be very clear and practical that in the current scenario, even the teachers, the students, the parents, they are all in a different state of mind. We are not acting only teachers. We have to
we'll come to that. We'll come to the different stakeholders. So you are a firm believer schools have to exist, right?
Yeah.
I once again follow it up to Mitali Archit, who is from the now new tech city of Hyderabad. Do you agree with Mohit Yadav, or do you agree with me that, just as a devil's advocate, schools in this form are no longer relevant? We are talking about online schools regularly. Then why do we talk about holistic education? We only require online. So that means that the vast majority of us who are doing it online can do it without any kind of support. Mitali Archit, your take.
Namaste, everyone. And I'm Mitali from Pallavi International School, Gandhipet campus, Hyderabad. Thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity. And I do agree with Mr. Mohit Yadav. We have grown up with a concept of TQP, Total Quality Person, which revolves around, just a minute.
Yeah, I think we have lost Mitali for a few seconds. Ashutosh Tripathi, can you just take on that question? I believe schools in the present form are not the right thing to exist. I think we have,
I'm so
Mitali,
sorry
you can,
for this inconvenience.
we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. I have passed the question to Ashutosh Tripathi. I'll get back to you. Don't worry. Mr. Ashutosh, yeah.
Good morning, Colonel Shekhar, the panelists, and a big lot of participants who are attending this webinar. I am Ashutosh from Raipur, Chhattisgarh. And as you rightly, basically, I may say I partially agree with you and partially with Mohit. On one point that the schools are there to stay, I'm totally agreeing with Mohit. But I also agree with you, Colonel Shekhar, that, school in the current form will definitely have to change post-pandemic. As everybody is saying, there are two worlds now. It's not AD, BC, it's pre-COVID and post-COVID, right? So schools as social spaces, there's no question that they will be needed. It's like superbly important. School as a social space, as a place where, and as a matter of fact, that was the school as a word in the beginning comes from a source which says a place to enjoy. So as a social space.
1 second, sir. 1 second. There is already a fair bit of conversation. Can we first identify as to what is the purpose of school education before discussing whether they are required or not? So then somebody saying nothing can replace actual school scenario. The fact that we have generated genuine discussion is itself credit to you. Please continue, sir. What's the purpose of school education?
If you ask me, I feel the biggest purpose of school education, shiksha sa vibhukteye, anything that liberates is knowledge and education. I think that's the purpose which I feel. And in the current scenario of COVID, we have already seen that, you need doctors desperately, you need vaccine makers desperately, you need, people who will, the virologists, you need comedians to make everything. I was listening to one Johnny Lever comedy, which was telling, now V is for vaccine, now W is for Wuhan, X is for Xi Jinping, and Z is for Zoom. So, you need people of all skills in these social spaces to develop on. That's the purpose. That's the bigger purpose of education. Education defined, blocked within limited spaces will be opened on. Skills and qualities which are beyond just limited areas will be talked of. And I think the certification will go away, and that's how I feel. Education is not certification, is what we should talk about. We should think about.
Right. Good. I think certification will go away. So Mitali Archit, I hope you are back and you can hear us loud and clear.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there is broad agreement that schools in the present form will have to metamorphose themselves. I believe at the end of the day, Ananda, Jigyasa, Sadhana, and Shraddha matters. The joy of learning, the curiosity of learning, the sadhana of learning. At the end of it, the school, from the school to the district, to the state, to CBSE or ICSE or IB board, to India and the world, we require peace and tranquility in your lives. Can school education take us towards that? Or are we running behind our admissions and online maybe whether to have exams or not? So a quick answer to that question.
Okay,
Are
so
schools in the present form sustainable?
yes, as I started earlier also, we were talking about TQP, that is Total Quality Person. So in fact, our NEP 2020, this is totally revolving around this TQP. And we have heard in and learned from our Vedas, 36 64 kalaएं.
Yeah.
So if these schools are not in their physical form, then how these 64 kala, which is 64 forms of art, will be integrated in the curriculum and will bring into its presence, and the learning outcomes will happen. So now online teaching learning system is like a top-ups, like a pizza having different toppings, because it's a temporary phase of life, but it has made us learn how to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So I truly agree with Mr. Mohit Yadav that physical schooling is definitely required. We cannot just what you have said, to say Bay of Bengal mein dal dete hain, we cannot do that. And it's very true. And in fact, this term lockdown.
You are taking me too seriously. I made it as a metaphor. Yeah,
No.
good point. But what has happened is this has generated debate, a confession voice. The placeholders of good education has been challenged. Educators have woken up. Ganesh is saying misplaced indicators are not relevant now. We need schools for sure. Lots of skills are required. Schools in the present form is sustainable. Bratati Bhattacharya says, though, lots of questions. Now let me put in another provocative topic. We have always talked about students, CBSE exams, parents, etc. Today, as we talk and as we move into the next phase, we see that 60 to 70% of our teachers are hugely affected. The school leaders are affected. The owners are affected. We are not identified as frontline workers. Are we focusing on the physical, social, emotional security, mental health of the teacher? You talk to any teacher today, and I've had conversations with over 300, 400 teachers. The answer which comes through is, sir, I have lost so-and-so, I have lost so-and-so. How do you expect me to be positive? What can we do to get the teacher, the school principal, and of course the owners who are struggling with money, lack of vaccination, fees not coming through? First, we focus on teachers. And let me start off by asking a male panelist, and we'll start this time with Ashutosh Tripathi. What can we do to get the teacher who herself is struggling to be in the fit frame of mind, to be able to motivate children who have been stuck inside 800 square feet for the last 2 years? Ashutosh Tripathi.
Colonel Shekhar, taking from this, and I also want to refer back to one point of yours, which you earlier said, what's the difference between pre-20 and pre-21 zone? I think one very big impact this COVID has had is the parent-school relationship or parent-teacher relationship has been fractured. And that's on the negative side that I said. It has been really, really fractured. We have seen so many cases against schools, parents, dharnawing in front of schools.
Inqilab Zindabad.
Yeah.
Principal Murdabad.
Yeah. So this relationship, there was this parda which has completely torn down, and this relationship has been really fractured, and this has impacted the teachers, school leaders, school owners very, very, very badly. And the negative thing is, we also started seeing it negatively towards the parents. So it both sides, it's not good. It's not good.
It's fair. It's fair. And I'd only intervene by saying that, put on the cap of being a school leader or an owner or a teacher, with over 1 lakh schools which were charging less than 1,500, just closing down. multiple suicides, etc. The challenge is huge.
Huge.
And I would also nuance your point. There is this pre-COVID, and I'm an English teacher, to present continuous COVID, and hopefully post-COVID. This present continuous is a little too long.
Too long.
So I'll come back to that question. Yeah, a little too long to our eternal dissatisfaction. So now that Mr. Tripathi has covered something else, I'll follow it up coming back to you. Mr. Mohit Yadav, he talks about the parda and the fractured relationships. So how do we get it back? The parents have to be stakeholders in the system. They have to understand what we are doing. The parents are also struggling with over 70 lakh jobs going. It's a serious challenge. How do you tackle it? Mohit Yadav.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I will just quickly say one thing. Since I'm a sports person and we used to play in our childhood, there was a game called Four Corners. So today the scenario is that we have got four corners of the education system. On one corner, it's the school management. The other is the teachers. The third is the parents, and the fourth is students. And all four corners are standing
and over and above all is the government which wants to control anything, irrespective of state or center.
Yeah. So now everybody is not having a confidence on another person. The parents do not have a confidence on the school management, the teachers. The respect is going down. The teachers are losing confidence with the parents. The students are not able to respect back because they see the parents are not respecting, and that parda has just gone blown. What Ashutosh said. So this is what is happening. But what we need to do is, now school does not need to be only a place where education takes place. Now we have to act as a social change of element where we need to educate the parents also. And we need to tell parents that there is always a ray of light, a hope of light after every darkness. हर रात के बाद एक नई सुबह होती है. So we have to tell them that in spite of whatsoever be the circumstances, look, if they have a problem, the problem is in the house of the teacher also. The teacher also had somebody in the COVID. The teacher also was positive.
Sir, I'll interrupt here. Empathy is in very short supply today.
Yeah.
The parent says, I have lost my job.
My job.
Online padhai kuch nahi ho rahi. And the teacher who was teaching at, say, 80% of her capacity, one of our panelists said, she's teaching at 160% her capacity and being paid half the salary. And usme bhi as school director, principal, aapko to daba ke gaali mili hogi. Each one of us are facing all of that.
Yes, very true.
When we take conferences where we tell teachers that your pay will be reduced from this day, mar gaya, lut gaya, barbad ho gaya, everyone gets onto
the management.
Onto the management, and they are much more harsher to you than a Virat Kohli bat. So how do we now get this balance right? Mohit Yadav, and next it will be Harris.
Sir, I feel a balance needs to be created between all these things, because even schools need to reconsider, the teachers need to reconsider, and the parents need to consider that this is the complete system. The school is just not a school building. The school is a complete ecosystem where the things got learning, development take place of the kids, and ultimately we all are having one common aim. एक ही खुदा है कि हमारे बच्चों को आगे बढ़ाना. We need to get our kids moved out. We need to get them balanced. एक ही तरीका रहेगा, कहीं schools को compromise करना पड़ेगा. That we need to compromise on the schools working. The cost cuttings need to take place, but not on the part of the teacher's salary. I can 100% assure, as of now, I am paying 100% salary to my teachers. It was pre-COVID, present continuous COVID, and the post-COVID. I'm still paying 100%. That needs to be done.
आप अपना email ID दे दीजिए. You will get 1,000 application forms within the next few minutes. All 466,500 offers will apply. Thank you, Mr. Mohit. Let's come down to southern India, Kerala. There, the government is uniformly hostile to private schools. They are very much focused on public schools. Despite having an MP as your chairman, how are you tackling it? And how do you keep the morale of your teachers in the midst of all this sustained? Harris Madapalli. Quick answer.
One of the things what we are doing is that even if we are not able to give them 10% salary, we are ensuring 70 to 75% of salary, even if our revenue is around 25%. because we are a residential school and the parents are paying only for the online tuition fee right now. Even if it is like that, we are giving 70 to 75% salary to the teachers. And one more thing which I am personally doing is that I'm ensuring that the emotional well-being of each teacher is not disturbed. Making a courtesy call to each teacher at least once in a week. I'm getting in touch with each teacher and getting his personal, familial, all these measures. And wherever I can support them, I'm trying to for that. And my principal also helping me and the coordinator also helping me in this. And as you said, one of the biggest challenge and the difficult what we have in Kerala is the approach of government against the private schools, may saying that they are strengthening the public education system. The online classes are just a Victor's channel or a YouTube thing. There is no any mean of interaction between, and the students from the government schools or the public education system are out of the schooling literally for a year. But in private schools, we are very keenly using all learning management system, then pre-recorded videos, all this blended learning, hybrid process, everything. Even if government and the public media is putting the private schools as a mean in order to loot the money of the parents. But actually, we being a prominent, one of the elite schools in Kerala, we are in good touch with our parents and we are making sure that parents also involved in the process by conducting different types of induction programs online and also engaging students into different learning activities offline in their homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, lots of comments. Schools as a business venture has to stop. Non-cooperation of parents has got a cumulative effect. Polarization is happening. I'll request all of you to keep looking at the chats and the questions. They are flowing. Connection, communication is important. Faculty development program is important. 100% salaries. The point which we have to understand, at the peak of the lockdown last year, there were close to 180 million Indians earning less than 50% of their pay. You leave aside a few. More than 3 to 4 lakh schools. India has got about 16 lakh schools, 26,000 or so, 25, 26 CBSE, about 3,000 or so ICSE, 1,000 international schools. Leave them aside. The vast majority of private schools operated under 1,500. There are some excellent stories in the Ken where schools survive month to month. Parents did not have money. Their fasals were having a problem. Students stayed at home and governments found it very easy to put everything on the school. And then we got into trouble. So this is a never-ending vicious cycle. Where do we get the money from? How do we sustain it? The parents want to pay approximately 1 rupee per month as fees. Government wants you to conduct private schools free of cost. Banks will charge you well over 12-13% of interest. Teachers want 11th pay commission fees. How do we survive? I'm using deliberate, exaggerated metaphors. So, this has been what is happening. Now let's go to Priya Dikshit. With the strictest of lockdowns, tell me one specific initiative you have taken to improve teachers, their socio-emotional and cultural mind space. Priya Dikshit.
Thank you, Colonel Shekhar. Before I answer that, I must say that the previous question that you asked all the male co-panelists here seemed to prove that, again, acknowledging what the teachers have gone through. In the first statement you made that most women, or rather teachers, are mostly women. So getting to hear what the male counterparts had to say was very, very heartening. I began with saying that how we need to look at everything from that conscious, from a certain level of consciousness, and not just look at it as a stopgap situation or anything. So for us, what we did even last year, when there was a lot of information about how many hours should children be exposed, to the virtual medium and a lot of things about the mental well-being and other things. In parallel, we were looking at the teacher well-being as well. So one of the formula we came up with was a 3-week, 3-day formula. So all teachers, all students across all the grades would go away on a 3-day compulsory non-digital mode. So just before we wrapped up the 3rd week of study, they would be back having activities that they could do as a family together. So whether their children were a part of our school or not, they could do a lot of those things. And we kept curating that every 3 weeks. So that was something. And the second thing that we did was forming these little cluster groups. So putting teachers who either taught in the same program or around the same grades or something to come in as a cluster, because that, I think, became one of the biggest success points with our teaching community. They said that worked really well, just that they were able to reach out to somebody whom they knew to discuss something that was little. And you know that as women, sometimes we are a little expressive. We need to vent out because
you are a little expressive. That has to be the understatement of the month, Priya Dikshit. Moving to another.
I'm going to say that as an average, sir.
No. You can't get away by saying that. Let me move towards somebody even more expressive than you. Swen, what are the 2 specific steps you dealt in improving the mindset of the teacher, and what do you propose to do? Without the teachers being on the ball with the students, as such, we are losing a great deal in terms of learning losses. How would you keep your teachers' morale high beyond paying them salaries?
I completely relate to you here. The fact is, teachers are the backbone of the school industry. So we identified it pretty early. There are 2 specific, big, broad level initiatives that we took. The first one was, we believed that a one-on-one counseling and psychological support was very much required for the teachers. We went overboard and we ended up hiring 2 consultants who are psychological counselors. So our teachers, we have a teaching fraternity of 180 plus staff. What we have is, we have half an hour to 1 hour sessions with the psychological counselors, and it's on demand basis. Whoever wants it can avail it, and this counselor is available for 6 hours a day, Monday to Friday. That's one support that we provide. Second is, thanks to our connect in Bhubaneswar, where we are based out of, what we did was we converted one of our hostels as a COVID facility center. We ended up having a couple of our beds of our own, had a couple of doctors partnered, and we have a couple of pharmacists on board with us. So any of our teachers, any of our immediate family members of the teachers, they have a problem, we don't fall back on the government facility. We ask them to come here, we're there for the support. As we speak right now, we've got 16 people in the COVID center right now, someone's father, some staff, some support staff. So I think that's a direct way of helping someone out that we figured out, and that has been working well for us since last year. Yes.
Wonderful. Now that everyone, and I'd come back to the other panelists also for doing that. Dilip Patel, what is the one thing you expect schools to do or colleges to do to keep parents happy? Keeping parents happy, to my mind, is somewhat of an oxymoron, but it tends to happen occasionally. Hello, Siddharth. Good to see you. Yes.
Yes. By the way, I'm a happy parent always because we do value as a parent the contribution of school, the teachers, and then when school raises some issues with the parents, means in fact paying fees or not paying fees is not the issue here. We have to, as a parent, I think it is our duty, even if it is online, we have to pay the fees, and our school, the schools where our kids go, we have very good parent-teacher relationship, and we miss that interaction. So as a parent, I think, well, we are privileged when we send our kids to the schools where we can pay the fees. Yeah.
We can pay the fees. So you are saying you are a rich man. So good. That's
not that exactly.
Also, no. I'm putting it on a lighter side, because when you are entrepreneur, you are somebody who's going to show us something about what can be done. So that also sends out a message that being an entrepreneur, being somebody who's a parent who is also somebody with electronics and biomedical, it is workable. Yeah, there are a large number of questions which have come up. So one question which I found it very interesting is, if you're opening a school today, what should be the focus areas? And I found it very interesting. Quick one-line answers from all the panelists, starting from Mitali. One-line answers, please. If you're opening a school on 1st of June 2021, what should be your focus area? One-line answer.
Safety and security of the entire teaching and learning community in terms
One
of...
sentence, that's all. That's all you can say, yeah. From there, Harris Madapalle. Other than what she said, focus areas. You're running a school now with effect from 1st of June.
So my focus to those who are starting school right now, focus on 21st century learning skills.
21st century learning skills through online. Ashutosh Tripathi, is it possible without sports, games, students in 1200 square feet meeting their parents every day?
Physical and mental health be the core focus area is what I feel.
How would you establish a school? How will you sell that school? Mohit Yadav.
Sir, I will just say right now, if we are opening a school, then one-liner is focus on technology and get the mental health of the students up to date.
Mental health and technology. Swayam Satyendu, what would you do?
I think I'll go against the flow. I would say this is not the best time to open a school. The ideal definition.
I am with you on that. Priya Dikshit, you have been told by the new Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu to open up an IB school. What would you do?
Go ahead and open it, but focus on the pillars of integrity and empathy.
Integrity and empathy, something more philosophical. Now I think we have only about 12 minutes. Let me now come up with something extremely harsh, and this is real for you. I had a case, somebody in close family, it was a COVID death. The body had to be taken out from the ward, 1,000 rupees. From the ward to the mortuary, another 1,000 rupees. From the mortuary to bringing it outside, 500 rupees. From there into the ambulance, 1,000 rupees. Keeping it in the ambulance and taking it to the Smashan Ghat, another 2,000 rupees. Smashan Ghat mein aage karna hai 5,000 rupees. And this is being watched by 2 students who are in class 7 and class 9. How cynical will the child become? And this is happening across the board. We are not facing up to it. My first question, with such cynical children, with things around us, with parents also becoming more aggressive at home, how do we, under these circumstances, improve the life and times of an average student? Ashutosh Tripathi first.
Thank you, Colonel Shekhar, for bringing this up, because I'm not just talking about average students. There's a lower band, and especially the ones who are invisible are the children with special needs, those who are on the lower end of the academic spectrum. So 30% and below, which is academic marks, which we see, I think big lot is highly invisible. We need to really strongly look upon that. And while mental health was being talked about, because I am now a co-founder of a venture called Ability, which works for children with special needs. And I've been seeing for the last 1 year, this is the area, this needs a lot of focus. But in mental health, what is biggest thing is, I would like to tell it to all the participants who are there and all the panelists. We talk about mental health. We say we have counselor. I have a psychosocial department with 3 counselors, 2 special educators, 8 life skills teachers in my psychosocial department, right? But I have gone for therapy. I have ensured my principal, who's also my wife, that she takes up therapy. All my teachers should. I say every one of us, leaders, whosoever are present, and teachers who are there, they must take therapy. They must understand the importance of their own mental health. We feel, hum teacher hain, hum bahut achhe therapist hain, hum apne aap mein counselor hain. Schools don't have counselors.
Right.
We need to have lead from the front. I mean, I will simply say, take therapy on your own, first of all. Tell your teachers to, and then the parents and students will follow.
Right. Great. So I am Satyendu. I painted a very real cynical picture. How do you get the student to be motivated over the next 12 months?
So again, honestly, I talk, blunt. There is no best way to do that except apart from trying and taking efforts. Haath pair maarne chahiye. That's what I believe in. So I think we're talking about a scale here, right? A lot of students. So individualized counseling is not possible. That's the scene out here. So I think the best way, something that whatever we have figured out as of now, what we're trying to do is probably have small motivational counseling sessions for them. Nothing off the charts that I can think of, honestly, and I'm more open to suggestions.
Right. Active listening and interaction to be good listeners. Mohit Yadav, what would you suggest to improve the average student?
Sir, my take on this would be very clear. Look, we are teachers, and it is said that teachers are the second father, mother of the child. We have to act like a mother, father, and to change our roles from delivering the academics, we need to counsel, because as a mother, when a teacher acts, as a friend, when a teacher acts and talks to the students, they become more open and clear. So we need to act as a friend, as a mother, as a father to the students. I need to counsel them and educate them about the situation, get them out of it, tell them that this is the past and the future lies in your hand and you need to make it better. Because if you have seen something worse and the child has seen it, you have to tell them that this is the worst thing that is happening. You are going to be the future of the country and you have to change the future. You be the change mind. So we need to create the students, the change people. Their change agents would be these change.
Students to be change agents. Good point to come up with. Priya Dikshit, your take on how to keep our students around in a cynical world optimistic.
I think I would go back to the previous point of that things stemming out from maintaining integrity and building empathy. And building empathy is all these strategies that the several of them have said, but constantly passing out that message that about positivity. It could come in multiple different ways, whether it's a teacher walking into a classroom or it is celebrating a sports day, or it could be any of this. So constantly keeping them motivated and keeping them expressing themselves. So that listening here that somebody mentioned, that is something that we all have to develop big time now.
Active listening. Harris.
And that consciousness that I said right at the beginning. I think
the consciousness part, consciousness part is much more. Grief management, grief therapy tends to become much more important. And sometimes the counselor himself or herself required even more counseling because it just goes above your head. Harris, what would you do?
So as the other panelists also said, we are focusing on mentoring and passing empathy to the students. And thank for our management, we are a limited number of school in number, and this teacher-student ratio is almost 10:1. And we have a student mentoring program where each student will be called and directly talk with parent and the student at least once in a week, other than his or her normal teaching learning process. Right. So this is how we are ensuring their social emotional well-being.
I'll come back to you, Tripathi sir. I'll come back to you. Mitali Archit, the female viewpoint. How can, because there is this general belief, my wife is a proponent, we ladies are better off at empathy than men. Do you agree? How would we do that?
With empathy, now I would like to add on one more thing, which is patience. Teaching students how to be patient and positive right now, it's the need of the hour. In fact, I myself have gone through the phase which the example, the case study which you quoted just now. I lost my father in the month of October 2020. It was not an easy time for me, and simultaneously my brother was also hospitalized for 15 days, not revealing that father has already expired. We were unable to do his last rites also. That was a tough time, but that tough time taught me as a person, as a lady, not many things which I wanted to share, which I wanted to convey to my students. And few days back, one of the students, he lost his father. There are 3 boys who are studying in our school. It took 1 week for me to make him settle down and then counsel him and then make him realize that now you are the leader of your house. That concept of being positive and patient is very important for a child to learn in this.
I understand. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. There are some. Yeah, Colonel Sir Shika says, please don't being sexist. Why are men declaring themselves to be less empathetic? I asked a provocative question, and that's how it should be. It's fair. I'm okay to even read out your point, Madam Shika. There was somebody who talked about the cynical teenager and cynical way children. We'll have to get them going. It's fine with me. There has to be a discussion. If we are able to keep the audience active during the last 50 minutes or so, we have done what we have. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have about 3 or 4 minutes before we conclude and hand it over to Dilip Patil. I start with Ashutosh Tripathi. The one thing you would look at it 1 year, 4 years from today, where would schools be? Your optimistic conclusion.
लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती.
Wonderful, great.
नन्ही चींटी जब दाना लेकर चलती है, चढ़ती 100 बार दीवारों पर मगर फिसलती है. मन का विश्वास रगों में साहस भरता है, चढ़कर गिरना गिरकर चढ़ना नहीं अखरता है. आखिर उसकी मेहनत बेकार नहीं होती. And to my teachers, parents, school leaders, ScooNews, everyone, आखिर उसकी मेहनत बेकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती.
Wonderful.
I will end with this saying कि डुबकियां सिंधु में गोताखोर लगाता है, जा जाकर खाली हाथ लौट कर आता है. याद रखिए, मिलते नहीं सहज ही मोती गहरे पानी में, बढ़ता दुगना उत्साह इसी हैरानी में. जो हमारे डॉक्टर्स का हुआ है, क्योंकि मुट्ठी उसकी खाली हर बार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की हार नहीं.
Wonderful. We should call you for a poetry session too, sir. Mohit Yadav, you are concluding optimistic thoughts.
Sir, I always believe one thing: when challenges are there, the opportunities are also there. Let's face the challenge as on date, and let's plan for the opportunities that the challenges pose to us. I think in time to come down, there will be more better opportunities for every one of us, and the teachers, the school owners, management, those who will be creative and those who will be innovative to get these opportunities, they will be successful, and we would all be able to get through out of it. Sir, I'll like to end this one thing, and I'll ask everybody. Everybody has talked about number of other aspects, but we have missed on one very simple point. Are our teachers safe enough to teach in time to come down? And what is their mental health? We have talked about the mental health of all the students, but none of us have talked about the mental health of our own teachers. Are they safe?
Yeah, we have been talking about it because since the questions are just a little short of time, we'll get back to you. Thank you, sir. Swayam Satyentu, your thoughts.
I think we are human beings. Our job is to survive through everything, and we evolve and survive. So I am very optimistic about the fact, and I completely relate with Mohit sir. We have to be innovative, and the innovators will only survive.
Right. Okay. Priya Dikshit.
I believe that in the future, the movement from the traditional teacher-centric school, and now everybody talks about learner-centric school, I think we should completely move into co-creating ecosystem-centric schools.
Ecosystem-centric schools. Haris Madapalle.
My answer is that a quote from Malcolm X. Education is passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. So as Priya ma'am said, we have to create schools as addressing the ecosystem. That's only the solution. And wherever there is future, passport should be there to enter. Then schools will be in a bigger form with a proactive approach, even in 2025 or 2030.
Right. Thank you, Harris. Mitali Archit.
One single motto which COVID times had made me learn is live, learn, innovate, value relationships, value challenges, value time, whatever comes to you, and then engage. Because this is like a mantra for me. Thank you.
Live is what it is, and that's a good note to end this part of the segment. Thank you to each one of you, every one of you. Thank you to the hundreds of comments and the tens of questions we have had. Thanks to each and every panelist for being sporting and engaged in a lovely verbal joust. I end by saying, by what the famous Paramir Chakra of the first Paramir Chakra of Indian Army said. I have forces coming from the left, from the right, from ahead of me. I do not have enough ammunition and weapons, but I will not let India down. I will not give up. He was the first Paramir Chakra, and it's because of him Jammu and Kashmir. Kashmir is with us today. That mindset has to take us through tough times for all of us. Let us respect each other, interact with each other, listen to each other, comfort each other. Thank you to Ashutosh Tripathi, Priya Dikshit, Swayam Satyendu, Mitali Archit, Harish Madapalli, and Mohit Yadav. Now over to you, Dilip Patil sir, for your presentation. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful, and thank you to all of you for those great comments. Over to you, sir.
Wonderful listening to you, Colonel Shekhar.
Thank you, Colonel Shekhar. Thank you all panelists. It was really heartening and a lot of take-home points as a parent, as an entrepreneur, as a citizen of this city, which is going through a troubled times. It was really enlightening experience to be one of the panelists here. But now, what I'm going to share with you is with a lot of optimism that we are going to open the schools one day, because this phase, this dark phase, is not going to last forever. But then it has taught us that we have to pull up our socks. We have to learn so many things. We have to unlearn so many things, and we have to get going with the real life. Because like all these pandemics in the history, this pandemic also will end, and it may also surface in different formats. So what is important for us is to take care of, rather be prepared for whatever comes, be prepared ourselves. So as a school, so I have a little presentation, because I am an engineer and we deal with the products which clean the air, which clarify, which disinfect the air, and which kills all the pathogens, microorganisms in the air. So for schools, whenever they open, there may be COVID, there may not be COVID, there may be another version of COVID or anything. So I'm going to talk about a technology which is sustainable, which every school should think of whenever time permits and their finances permit. They should implement certain things in terms of air quality. When we say air is around us everywhere. So to keep the things in perspective, we consume about 11,000 liters of air per day. And compare this with the water. We just consume about 3 liters of water. We consume about 2 liters or 2 kg of food per day. So see how important the air is actually, the indoor air quality. And 90% of our time is spent inside. And then there is also a fact that inside air is 5 to 10 times more polluted than the outside air. So with this, I will start my presentation. I will share the screen. Are you able to see the screen, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so back to school, the new normal means whenever we get back to school, and I hope very soon. So I'm a biomedical engineer and I'm the owner of this company. So I will have some commercial interest. That's my disclaimer here. The product which I'm talking is having some commercial interest. So please bear with me. So all of us have discussed this new normal, physical distancing, sanitizing hands, following COVID etiquettes while coughing, sneezing, and talking. And then online learning would be part of schooling. You call it hybrid learning, but there is no replacement for physical learning. That's my personal thing. So I just told you about the air. So let's clear the air. So what are the common indoor air contaminants? This is true for all of us who stay inside. maybe school or offices or home. So viruses, bacteria, fungus, volatile organic compounds, and particulate matter. So these are 5 different categories of impurities in the air. So virus has been spoke of coronavirus or different version of that, including COVID-19. Norovirus is a stomach virus actually. Influenza, SARS, rabies, measles, mumps, smallpox, chickenpox. These are all viruses which spread through air. Then we have bacteria, and the worst bacteria or the ongoing pandemic which we are underestimating is tuberculosis. 30% of Indians are the dormant carrier of tuberculosis. Then we have MRSA, Legionella, and all sort of bacterial infections spread through the air, and fungus. Aspergillus is very, very common fungal infection, and we have penicillin, and now we have another family of fungus or other which was there, mucormycosis or black fungus, and there is white fungus and different types of fungus. All these things, though they originate from the humid atmosphere or the construction sites or damp rooms and all these things, but then they also spread through the air. Then we always talk about chemicals and use of chemicals and plasticware and all these things. So the side effect of all this modern life is volatile organic compounds. So they are all over the air, like formaldehyde, benzene, nitrogen oxide, and particulates matter. All of us speak during the winter session PM 10, PM 2.5, and all these things. So there is nothing but the dust, pollen, dander, and PM is the size of that particulate matter. So PM 2.5 and PM 1.5. So these are all airborne impurities. And you all know what is the source of indoor air contaminants. So mainly it is building material, population density, human actions, and illnesses like COVID. Cleaning chemicals, we are using discriminately, we are using alcohol-based cleaning chemicals and all these things. That's generating a lot of impurities in the air. It's not solving the problem, it is compounding the problem. And humidity, like places like Mumbai are very prone to airborne infection because of the humidity. So this is just a nugget that a single minute of loud talking, this is very relevant in terms of school. A single minute of loud talking could launch over 1,000 virus containing droplets.
Sir, you'll have to speed up a little bit, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So this is a slide which is very, very representative. When we say COVID is airborne and why it is airborne, COVID virus. So this large, this is a person who is speaking, coughing, or talking. So the large infectious droplets fall up to 1 meter in 4 minutes time. But these are basically the bacteria. But there are small infectious droplets which travel up to 1.5 meter, and they stay there. They take about 17 minutes to reach there. And we're talking about aerosols or airborne particles of virus like COVID. So these infectious droplet nuclei create the aerosols, and they travel up to 48 meter. And these are the viruses. This category is under viruses, and they stay there, remain indefinitely in the air. This thing. So that's very scary thing. If somebody coughs, it may stay there in the closed room forever. And this picture, I will just this is just the size of the virus. This virus is very, very small. This 1 micron. If you compare this with human hair, which is 50 to 70 microns. So we have to clean. We have to clear the air. We have to close the infection control. Whatever there is in the air settles on the surfaces, and our hands touch the surfaces. So we have to clean the air so that we can close this infection control loop. So in the healthcare, in the education situation, education setup, we have what are the problems? The impact of poor indoor health. We have headaches, we have allergies, eye and throat irritation, we have respiratory infections, asthma, influenza, and now pneumonia and COVID. And we also have norovirus. So these are established parameters or established symptoms which we get during our day or time in the school environment. And then school bus drivers and pollutants, that also adds to this thing. So this this data is based on EPA and all this California Air Resource Board. So this is Harvard Medical School has conducted a deep study about effect of good indoor air quality on the students or the educational outcomes. So they have concluded that taking steps to improve IAQ or indoor air quality of schools is critical to bettering student health and academic performance. And this has been endorsed by Environmental Protection Agency, that is EPA of America. So what it means in terms of health, allergies, common colds, and other infections, illness can prevent students and staff from feeling well throughout the academic year. So health is directly related with quality of the indoor air. And then cognition is very important. There are many papers suggesting that poor indoor air quality impacts cognitive function, including attention, engagement, comprehension, and it also leads to annoyance and irritability. And also, it improves the performance if the indoor air quality is maintained. Poor health leads to absenteeism, diminished thinking, which negatively impacts the long-term academic performance of the students. So this is the bottom line, that indoor air quality in the school environment is very, very important. So what are the things which you can do? Of course, we have all your schools.
Sir, about 2 minutes to go, sir.
Okay, so I will not. So I'm going to talk about a new technology. I'm not going to talk about ionizers or like that, because we have hundreds of air purification equipment available, and they are all ionization based, which is not allowed, which is not permitted. This is just one slide which I want to share, that all these hundreds of devices which are floating the market under the this thing of COVID. So EPA and California air quality regulators and New York-based school department, they have labeled these devices as hazardous with potential negative impact, and they don't permit air purification using bipolar ionization, ion or proton generator, UV lights, and corona discharge, and of course chemical fumigation when the students are in. Recently, about 4,000 such air purifiers were installed in some US federal schools, and they were withdrawn on court order because they were found to be producing a lot of ozone and negative harmful products. So I'm going to talk about a technology which is the only technology which can be safely used around the patients, around the human beings in the room, closed room 24/7. This technology is called nanostrike. Nanostrike technology. It's the first line of protection against all airborne pathogens. So it kills, this plasma-based technology, nanotechnology, kills instantly within 2 milliseconds on contact all the microorganisms inside the box, inside the machine. So what is plasma? Plasma, as you know, you are the educators, is a forced state of matter. When you heat gas or air, it becomes plasma, and the routine example of plasma is lightning, which we see during the monsoon season. So what exactly happens in this nanostrike technology? It's a plasma, very destructive plasma field is created inside the machine. So within few milliseconds or nanoseconds, all this chemical, physical reaction happens. There is bombardment of charged particles. There is electropolation by magnetic fields, heat radiation, then osmotic pressure. So whatever impurities, whatever pathogen comes in contact with this plasma field inside the machine, it's all disrupted at a RNA, DNA level, and it total destruction of airborne pathogens. So which doesn't allow, it happens so fast that the pathogen doesn't get to multiply or replicate or convert into new variant. So this is exactly, and we have different models based on the viral load or bacterial load, depending on your size of the room and all this thing. If you can see in the background, my background, I'm using this stand-alone air purifier in my cabin, and we have small modules also. So all this technology has been validated by NASA with bacteria, viruses, and also fungus. So it has been approved by FDA, medical device. It's NASA accredited. NASA has, and then it has been tested on actual SARS-CoV-2 virus, actual COVID. So it removes up to 99.99997% within 15 minutes in a 16 cubic meter. That's what we have tested. We have tested for tuberculosis, which is a big problem. We have tested for different families of fungus. We have tested for volatile organic compounds, chemicals, and particulate matters. So this particular technology takes care of the impurities in a wholesome way. And regarding school, we have this case study. We have installed these machines in more than 400 schools across America and some European schools, but not yet in India.
Sir, so, you have to wind up, sir. Thank you.
That's the last slide, sir. So this is even in schools, people have found that this machine has really helped them improve the absenteeism or improve the presence, and so I'm open for questions offline. This is my last slide. Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this panel, which was very nice, and I'm sure next 2 days are going to be again very constructive and informative. Thank you, Colonel Shekhar, and thank you, school, for allowing me to be part of this event. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. It's been very interesting. I'd request you to give a copy of the presentation and put it here.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll put that presentation.
I'll be, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, sir. It was wonderful and your insights were great. You have come up with something new. So with these words, I thank all the panelists. Back to the ScooNews hosting team. Over to you. Vinay and Pati, are you there?
Thank you very much, ScooNews, Colonel sir, and everyone. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for joining in.
Thanks a lot. Goodbye. Take care.
Siddharth, are you there?
Yes, Colonel, I'm here. Hello,
Yeah,
good afternoon.
yeah. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. I'm handing over the moderation to you, a wonderful person in every which way, and you have a fabulous and a difficult topic to tackle. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Colonel. So should we begin or should we wait for the next 2 minutes?
All yours, sir. You are the boss. I think it's an introductory comment you can take off. It'll be good for everyone to kind of, get a link and between us as we are talking. From Baba Ramdev to IMA to Coronel to everything else, disinformation is all over the place, from paying fees or not paying fees. So it's wise that I keep quiet and give you those 2 extra minutes. Over to you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you. The first panel discussion was really, really nice, and I was learning from it. This is my first time I'm doing this, and I was, really learning. So namaste, everyone. Good afternoon.
Very good afternoon, sir. Namaste.
I am Siddharth Rajgarya. I am the Director, Chief Learner of Delhi Public School, Varanasi, Nasik, and Lawa, Nagpur. And I feel really privileged to be moderating this panel today. Indeed, we have, over the entire panel comprises of over 100 years of, experience in the education space. And I'm really delighted to be, moderating this panel because it is not just from principals from metro cities. It actually is a real picture, and we have people from all over tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities. So welcome Dr. Chitkara, Mr. Rajesh Avasthi, Dr. Preeti Ojha, Shri Padmalata ji, Mr. Mathura Prasad Pandey.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. So our discussion today is, the topic is really pertinent, and especially in times of the pandemic. And the topic is the challenge of information and the role of schools, and what we as school leaders can do in that. The format for this discussion is, we're going to have 2 rounds. In the first round, we'll have a theme, and I'll request each panelist to respond to that. I'll start the discussion with thoughts from a video that was shared to me from Colonel Shekhar today morning. And indeed, democracy, depends on a lot of shared truths, and autocracy actually depends on shared lies, and that's on the rise. And democracy feels like it's on the decline. And there's a lot of hate crimes that are surging. And between all the excellent information available online, there's a lot of damaging and false claims, a lot of misleading arguments. Like, very recently there was a claim, a very provocative that both 12th grade exams have been called off by the CBSE, and there was a circular around that. So distinguishing reliable and unreliable information is a really complex issue. And especially in these times when all the education is happening in the online context, it is even more challenging. And there has been many researchers, several prominent people who have really called upon and asked school leaders to prepare young people to be able to identify reliable information online. The question today is is it wise to expect that school can solve this problem? I believe education definitely is a part of the solution, but the question is how big a part of the pie can the schools address. And a recent report found that 62% of people in the world now get their information from social media. About 47% of Facebook users go there for news. And today, we are both a reporter and consumer of online information. And as a result, each of us are potentially the problem and the solution. So to my panelists today, let's start the discussion. As a 21st century school leader, what do you think schools can do to address this challenge today? Our first panelist, Dr. Chitkara, I'll pass on to you. Please introduce yourself and share your views, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank ScooNews for the opportunity. It's a wonderful topic, quite different and very interesting. So I'm Dr. Niyati Chitkara, and I'm the director of two schools. We have one school in Chandigarh and another in Panchkula by the name of Chitkara International School. So I come from an organization that has two universities and one school, and two schools now. So I would like to share the perspective from, so we offer a platter from playway till PhD. And this entire bandwidth of students that we have, there are a lot of observations, relating to this topic that I can share right now. So I think the topic talks about, it all revolves around the value system and education that schools provide. So there's a lot that schools can do in this regard. First of all, I'd like to share here that, we have a unique curriculum, in our education platter where we are not teaching content. We are teaching research. We are focusing around employability. So when something revolves around research, you have hypothesis, you have literature survey, so you have bibliography and references. So these are the things on which research relies, right? So whenever any news comes to a student or to somebody per se, should go through different levels of research. For example, the authentic sources behind the news, and also, what other alternative sources are available, what kind of content and context does, it offer. So these are the kind of trainings that we can impart our students in school education. Our education system revolves around two theories. Number one is Bloom's taxonomy. So Bloom's taxonomy says that whenever an information comes, it should go through different levels, like knowledge. Knowledge is merely data, right? Then comprehension. Comprehension is information. Comprehending that the news into information. And then application, analysis, synthesis, and decision making. Now, the entire education system, the report cards should focus on decision making. Once you develop decision making, once you develop critical thinking, critical consuming, there comes the ability of the learner to understand which news is real and which news is fake. See, after all, by the end of the day, it's all about being right or being wrong. That's where it is, or being fake or being real. So even with there's another theory that I'd like to mention here called the theory of Kohlberg moral development theory. Now, this theory revolves around training students on what is right, what is wrong, what is real, what is fake, what is misinformation, what is information. So this theory gives different levels of the students, starts from 0 to 9 years, then how to train students on what is right, what is wrong when they reach adolescent age, and how to train them when they reach adulthood. So we as adults, you know, how do we say that we have reached a level of decision making? When we start developing perspectives. So right or wrong depends upon your perspective. And that's where I want to say that schools can do lots. Like, for example, what we do in our school is we have our own news channel, first of all. So schools can do that. Schools can come up with their own newsroom. So every morning before your class starts, you can serve and share the real news with the students. Then you can come up with small things like, you know, value nib. Small things like, you know, we do something called Tech Thursdays. We do something called netiquettes. So training students on net etiquettes, plagiarism, then copyright. So all these programs can be part of the school curriculum. Yeah. So that is what I feel, that once your
Thank you.
answer is defined, so only then, you know, you'll be able to face the challenge. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Chitkarnik. You know, you've really really started the discussion in the right direction, that we need to equip our students with research, with the methodologies in which, you know, they can identify and differentiate between what's the right source and not. So quickly, let's move to Mr. Rajesh Avasthi. Sir is the principal at Choitram School, Indore. So please give a short introduction, and I'll request all panelists to please stick to 2 to 3 minutes for this response. Yeah, over to you, sir.
Okay, well, thank you, Siddharth, and namaste to everybody who's attending this program. Somewhere I feel that in the current scenario, when everything is going online, this is the most important issue which everybody is facing, whether it's the student or adult like us. So I'll share my views on a wider prospect, keeping the school student in mind and students in mind. The one thing is that, I mean, what Dr. Chitkara was saying, I just add some value to it, and that is about the media literacy. This is the first and the very important point, which not only the students, but then every adult should go for it. We talk about the sponsored news and we talk about the fake news. So we need to understand that, why we are attracted towards the social media, why we are attracted towards the fake news or the sponsored news. So it is because of our convenience and the low effort. It is not because we feel that whatever is there on the social media is authentic, or we get the first-hand information on the social media, but we do not want to explore the truth behind the fake news or the sponsored news floating on the social media. So it's very convenient that, you go to the WhatsApp, you go to Facebook, or you go to any point, and somebody has posted something, and we feel that, yes, this is correct, this suits to us. So the first thing which we should understand is this fake news or the sponsored news is not a problem of technology, but it's a problem of human behavior. So it is our behavior. Because of that, we are going for the fake news and endorsing the fake news, forwarding the fake news. And I think every day we are, witnessing these things. Second thing is that, when I was talking about the media literacy, media literacy need to be a part of the school curriculum. I mean, we do talk about the digital literacy, but digital literacy again is a quite a wider platform, but specifically talking about the media literacy, not to teach students, to find out whether the news is correct or not, because, it's a very long process. And I think today in the newspaper, WhatsApp has gone to the court that they are not going to give the source of any information, whether it is the fake or it is not fake information. So for a student, it is very difficult to find out, the source of the information and the credibility of the information, because the credibility is more on the reference group which we are into. So the media literacy should include, some of the angles where we can teach the thinking skills to students, like the critical thinking skill to the student, allowing them to ask a question, training them to ask questions. The importance of criticism and the informed opinion. I mean, this is the most important point from my point of view. Like, who created this new? We do not know who has created this news, because it has come to my dashboard. But who is, this message is meant for whom? So usually, anything which I feel interested in, I do not, actually rethink it, whether this message is meant for me or this message is not meant for me. I just click it, and then, a cycle starts in this. And at the same time, another thing is that, why this message is floating. So again, the point of the critical thinking comes here again, that the student must ponder upon that why this message is being floating again and again. You see in the social media, in the sponsored news, you have something very attractive caption, and somewhere at the bottom or somewhere the name of company is written. So I just click because I'm attracted to the caption. Same is the sponsored news, because it is some celebrity is saying this thing, so this must be correct. So the difference between what is relevant and what is not relevant need to be part of the school education program. This is what I thank you. I just because I'm attracted to the caption. I think there is some technical issues. I think Siddharth is freezed. Maybe some bandwidth issues with Siddharth.
Thank you, Rajesh.
I think there is some problem with the
what Chitkara also added, that sourcing and helping children understand where
I believe there is some severe network issue going on at different ends. And this is what, the technology makes fun. Dr. Preeti, you are not audible.
I think
Oh, I believe Siddharth is out because of some network issues.
He'll just join, sir. In the meantime, if something, a discussion was on, we could continue with that.
Yeah, so let's continue with what else we can look forward. The first thing is that when we talk about the sponsored content as such, I mean, it is very difficult to identify which news item is sponsored and which news item is not sponsored. You know, every day when you tune into the prime time in almost all channels, so you have somebody favoring this and you have somebody favoring the XYZ, and then we come across that what is sponsored and what is not sponsored. So okay, fine. Siddharth is back.
Yeah, sorry. I think because of the cyclone, there's some network issue. Yes. So let's take on. You pointed out a great area that apart from sourcing and teaching children how to understand and get into the source of the document, it's also a problem of how humans behave and the convenience factor that comes in. So I think that's a really valid point. And on that note, I'll bring in Dr. Ojha, and ma'am, please introduce yourself and take it from there. You're not audible. There's a problem in your audio. So can I go to Shri Padmalata ji, and I'll come back to you after this if you're once you're able to fix this.
Can I join in? Can I?
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Yes. Good afternoon, team. Good afternoon. It's really great being a part of this. And I think I should thank ScooNews for organizing these wonderful webinars. I think there is tons of knowledge we are gaining from all the people participating and also all the people viewing it. So I would really like to appreciate and thank ScooNews for this great webinar sessions. I think this pandemic period has really brought out a different perspective among all of us. So like it caught us unawares suddenly, and outright immediately we get to know that schools are closed. We are going to be far away from our children. What next? What is to be done? Everything was so unaware. Though we had so much of technology and everything with us, it was just that many of us were unprepared for it. I think all the teaching fraternity, the teachers have donned the cap of CLOs. I think we have heard of COOs and CFOs and CTOs. CLOs, we have suddenly overnight become chief learning officers. So we learned like what is technology, how to, reach out to the children who are far away from us, how to make the education of these students continue. So like overnight becoming CLOs is a difficult part, but I think again, I take this platform of ScooNews and applaud the whole teaching fraternity for donning the caps of heroes, bringing out heroes in themselves and also bringing out the heroes in children with the use of technology. This is Padmalata, who worked as a principal with Nalanda Educational Institutions, which runs on holistic approach in our curriculum. So a warm good afternoon to all of you once again. So actually, recently there was a news again, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, that all those who have taken the vaccine will die in 2 years. So imagine the damage such kind of news does. So, and imagine the mental agility or the mental torture or the tension when someone who reads this, oh, my loved one has taken a vaccine, now what's going to happen? So this fake news is something which is really troublesome and really causing problems everywhere in every nook and corner. There is a quote, I think, by Jonathan Swift, which says, falsehood flies, truth is still limping around the world. So it is true. And when I was young, my father, my daddy also used to tell one quote, truth is still tying its shoelaces when lies has gone round the world. So it's true. I don't know what magic it has, but it is lies which go around the world much faster than the truth itself. So I think we are going to live with this. It is not that we can just, switch on and off and remove this problem. As long as technology is there, we are going to live with this problem, and we have to teach our children how to tackle the problem. And not only talk of the problem, we have to teach our children to talk about the solutions too. So it is easy for everyone to talk about the problem. This is the problem, that is a problem. But we have to encourage our children to talk about solutions, to discuss solutions. So what can be done for to getting solutions which can be implemented. So these kind of things, if they are included in our curriculum as a part of their learning schedule, I think definitely there will be a change in the perspective of children and not believe everything that comes to there. It is easy when something is served in a plate, easy to eat it up. Instead of that, we need to teach our children what is served to them. Just wait for 10 seconds. See the authenticity of it. What is it? From where it has come? Is it reliable? Is it meant for me? Is it given to me with a purpose? What is the purpose behind it? In simple morsels, if we can teach our children, if not in big, big issues, I think they will learn, they will adapt to that kind of perception and try to analyze what is given to them. And how this analysis is to be done, what can be done, I think I will later come back again and let you know the things which are a few are there to be done. So
Thank you, Padmalata ji. And I think, you've rightly stated that falsehood flies. And, there's actually research that false stories spread faster. And I think it's also related to the fact what Mr. Avasti says that, we are, as humans, we are wired to believe in convenience and we do not want to get to the base, or maybe we were not taught in schools to get to the base of things. On that note, I'll go to Dr. Preeti Ojha, and hopefully I think your audio is fixed, ma'am, now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. I'm Dr. Preeti Ojha. I have been working as an educationist for the past 20 years. But before an educationist, I was a coder. I was a software developer. And software in itself brought the thought in my mind that this is not a subject. It cannot be treated as a subject in the schools. It should be treated as a tool through which you reach out to the world. And for me, for the first time when I joined the first school, my only transition in the school curriculum was that make the children experience this tool to the extent that they start understanding that if they overuse it, it can burn their fingers. And if they use it in the right way, it will give them the warmth. That's exactly that I wanted as a computer science teacher, wanted to make this very clear to children. But as all my panelists have been talking about the various ways of teaching children and whatever we are wanting to go in, the dilemma and the irony is that our adulthood teachers need to be equipped enough to know what exactly the fake and the right news is. The most important thing, I'll just give you a small example. Virtually few months back, some of the students brought in a few pictures of our teachers together and put it on the Instagram with different kinds of names. Teachers were in a panic, all of them. And they said, what is this happening? Children have put up pictures on the Instagram with different kinds of names and things like that. I said, do you know how to complain? So they said, no, that's not what we know. I said, when you don't know how to complain on the Instagram, how will we be able to equip our children if they become a prey to a predator? How to equip them with that knowledge? So I feel that the ocean of internet is full of information and all kinds of information. And I would like to quote it with nonsense information. And when we go on to the social media, the Facebook has got pictures of couples having food who are already divorced. We have pictures of people who are enjoying a place in Goa wherein they don't even have a salary at home. This kind of an anxiety and stress of information brings a different kind of a thought process among the children. I feel that the social media, especially the Instagram, Facebook, I don't mind also taking the name of the LinkedIn, where I find so many fake accounts. When there are people, when we experience, what I'm trying to say, Mr. Siddharth, is that when we ourselves experience and we jump into the hot water, we realize the sensation. So for me, I feel that at this stage, school, as we have done, we have made committees in the school. And you will not believe me, every committee has a student in it with the teachers and outsiders. So when the children sit with those committee members and when they sit with the IT committee, they understand what exactly have to look up to when they talk to children. What is that lab and internet resource giving us? Exactly told rightly by one of the school leaders that who is writing that name, who's the author, who's the source, where is it coming from? Is it a political party? I don't mind saying this, that some of the people have this thought that in the Google search, if their school name or if their organization name comes on the top, they are the most wanted ones. Sorry, it is also bought, it is also purchased, and people call this optimization. The optimization on the Google and the information given all around is sometimes also very difficult for an adult to decide whether to take it or not. So if the children are asked to move into this world with a guided hand like we do, we make them collaborate. The best way to do is not letting anybody get harmed in your own organization or the children. Collaborate with schools in UK, collaborate schools in Bangalore, collaborate schools in Mysore, collaborate school in Ajmer. Let the children talk to each other and create a blog. Let the information be posted there among the two teachers in a secured manner, and let the children ask another child from who and how did you get that information. Let them do a deliberation, let them have a debate. The children will realize that the news which I picked up, which I found to be very authentic, is actually a fake news. This entire information will go to the whole classroom, which will be now alert about the plagiarism and will understand that I'm not supposed to pick up anything until I have a URL connected to it. So that's how the first way, which I feel, is collaboration. The second way, as I already told you, is the committee. Let children be with the adults in the committee to see how exactly we talk and what are we looking forward for. The extremely important one is ask them to publish newsletters on the website. Let the parents read it. Give them a authority of writing a small comment. Let the parent ask the child, from where did you get this information? Let the child also get that reflection. Hold yourself, reflect back on what you have written, realize and replan what you want to do. As a school educationist and a leader, I should have that responsibility to educate every child of the school about the theory. But until I don't make them experience the repercussions in these four walls, I wouldn't be able to make them strong enough to compete after 12. There's so many children coming on the news nowadays and talking and saying that the board exams shouldn't be taken and whatever. But when you actually go to the newsroom and you talk to these children and you ask them, are you really thinking that you really don't want to go about this board exam? No, ma'am, we have already given our practicals. We don't think it will be fair for all the children. There's so much of confusion in their minds of what they're wanting to speak and what they're thinking, that we need to make them a very good decision maker, as Dr. Chitkara said, that decision-making capacity should come in the child at the age of 6 years. What food they want to eat, what food they don't want to eat. The conditioning of the parents and the helicopter parenting is so high among the children that they do not agree sometimes until they fall in the pit. And if we don't allow them to do that at an early stage in the school, in these four walls, I don't think the child will be confident enough and reassured enough to go ahead to take a challenge, because they'll always be scared. If once they're caught into any kind of a problem on WhatsApp, somebody has written them something on the Facebook, has started making friends with them, and they suddenly found that person was 40 years old and not also 16. When until they will not get to know all this and know how to stop it, how to block, how to do that conversation, children will not be able to agree. You keep telling them theories and stories and books. Nobody, you and me today, we will not agree to everything that we have been spoken about until we realize and we are in that situation ourselves. So I think This is how we do it in our schools and have been doing earlier also. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Dr. Oja, you bring a great point in that, for anything of this nature, we really need to look at a whole system transformation, and we can't just say that, teachers need to do this, or, we need to have in the ICT curriculum, we could do this. We need to really look at it in a entire ecosystem. We need to equip teachers. We need to bring parents in. I love the idea of, getting students involved into decision-making committees in schools. And I would say, why just for why just for forming IT rules? It should be for each and everything, bringing each and every stakeholder. And I think that's the way to go forward in the education space. Thank you, Dr. Oja. Moving on to Mr. Mathura Prasad Pandey. Thank you, sir, for being patient, and let's hear what your thoughts are about this.
Great, sir. Thank you so much, Siddharth, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Mr. Pandey, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Please introduce yourself and go ahead. You can respond, to the question.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Great, sir. And sir, my screen.
Sorry, Mr. Pandey, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm there. I'm there.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Okay. Great, sir. Can you put into me into that many screen, sir? Hello.
Sorry. Yeah. Do you want me to repeat the comment, or so the discussion that's going on is that we consuming.
Yes, very good afternoon, sir. Very good afternoon, everyone. And this is MP Pandey, Principal, Aristo Public School, Kadlur, Tamil Nadu. I belong to Madhya Pradesh, sir. But I'm in South India, and what I feel that the whole country is my home, sir, right? And that's how I'm here, and like enjoying a good atmosphere in South India also. Sir, what I saw when I was walking on the road, I saw nearby like one of the child who was picking up the garbage from the garbage, okay, but he was selecting the garbage what he has to select, but he is illiterate boy, and what he does, he knows what he has to select. He knows that this is inbuilt, this is not given in school. He is not PhD into that, selecting what is required for him and what is useful for him, right? Facebook, all social media has become like a dustbin. It's garbage. One is putting fake news, wrong news, right, to give the wrong direction to the people. But what is happening now? The person who is reading that information has to understand, has to analyze whether this information is correct or not. So how this has to be done? Here, it's a great role of the parent, mother, father, teachers, principal, all the stakeholders in the schools to guide the child critical analysis, thinking skill, where the child has to understand his own way, right? Decision he has to take. That the Bloom taxonomy, like Chitkara ma'am has already said this about, in all over the world, education is going on in Bloom taxonomy only. So that is the base of the education system in all over the world. Whatever information we are reading, whether it is a book or any information in media. So what has to be done? This has to be understood. First of all, what I'm reading, I need to understand whether this information is correct or not. I need to analyze. Then I have to apply whether I should apply this information or not. So the first information is given to him that the child has to understand it. I read in one newspaper, the big article was given, and then on the top it was written that kindly don't read it. Kindly don't read it. So when it is written that kindly don't read it, the people will read purposely, because the person who has written this article has given the challenge, kindly don't read it. So means the person, the human nature, it's psychology. It's a psychology that if a negative enforcement is given, then the people, they jump into that. So the fake news which is available in the website or any social media, this is attracting to the people. Now what damaging is going on right now, when the school was running, at that time children were coming to school, and then we all were teaching them with the books in school. Okay, but right now teaching learning is going on online. If laptop is given or desktop is given, that's okay, and there the parent has to be there to monitor what the child is reading in the internet. But the mobile is given to the child. Mobile means what? It's open to all. A small child goes jump into the ocean of the fake news, wrong news, right? So where the books were there in his hand, now what we have given? We have given the mobile, right? And which has taken the child to the wrong track. Definitely he doesn't know what he has to read and what is right or what is wrong, because he doesn't know the psychology. He doesn't know the Bloom taxonomy. The teacher also who has taught him, he also or she also doesn't know, because she has taken only degree, B.Ed degree. She has not done the proper psychology, children's psychology. She has not attended the class. The biggest challenge nowadays is to handle the children at home. They are suffering from emotional, right? Nobody is able to understand them. And what is given to them? Mobile is given, attend online classes, morning and evening. So the biggest challenge now we have, the mobile is given to them, that should be monitored. Mobile should not be there in the hand of the children. It should be desktop, it should be laptop, and the firewall should be there, like with the help of the IT department. Parents should come and contact the school. School should give them the proper firewall or system which can save the child from the wrong track, from the fake news. I tell everyone, don't read newspaper in the morning. Even I don't read the newspaper in the morning, because in the newspaper, what you read nowadays, what is available? The good information is very less, but the wrong information is so our day start with the tea, and tea with the newspaper. Then what? Ultimately we jump into the wrong track and our positivity goes away. We start our day with the prayer. The prayer means positivity. The mind should get the proper food, and the food is a good thought, positivity. And if tea with the newspaper is given, means in any corner of the world or country something has gone wrong, definitely it is going to disturb the person and his mind. So like we are eating food, we need to understand that the psychology, we need to understand what is right, what is wrong, and then we need to decide that what has to be given to the child. Thank you, sir. Definitely after that we'll discuss some more points.
Thank you, Mr. Pandey. And your thought about the internet as a garbage of information is really intriguing. Although I would say that it's debatable whether to advocate reading or non-reading of newspaper. So on that note, we'll move on to round two, and I'm going to bring in Dr. Chitkara into the discussion again. Dr. Chitkara, there has been many hate crimes and a lot of surges in such incidents. If you could recall, there was a Palghar incident about two to pundits. There was a very recent incident about a Muslim family being attacked. So there is, a lot of these dangerous things, and a lot of them are on the rise. And there's something that is common in all of them, and that is how social media is being used as a, to facilitate. It's being used to create propaganda and to facilitate certain thoughts, and a lot of these internet companies are actually encashing upon them. So what do you think are implications for students and in their lives as they grow? What do you think are implications for students in such situations?
I think, Siddharth sir, the students, they do get affected in many ways. First of all, their entire psyche can get affected. Their mental health can get affected. With the news like something, talking about CBSE exams getting cancelled, their careers can get affected. Their relationships, their friendships can get affected. There can be problem in their family setups, the background. So I think it affects the students largely, and at varying levels, students get affected. And the little ones, who haven't even seen the world yet, haven't understood the world yet, they start believing or misbelieving, and this misinformation or information confuses them. So definitely it's anti-education, and we need to do something about it, in the sense that, schools can actually, I agree with Dr. Preeti that, the role of teachers and parents is of paramount importance. But along with that, a lot can be done in terms of, school libraries can come up with, authentic information, sharing it with the students and the parents. Also, something very interesting that we do in our school, which I'd like to share here, which might answer your question. We have a mobile app, and any news or circular that is academic or related to school education or students or parents, goes through an audio circular along with the written circular. So when the audio circular reaches to a parent in Hindi bhasha and Punjabi bhasha or regional bhasha, so information received and information understood, there are two different things. So when a circular reaches out to a parent that this is the real date sheet, and the date sheet that's, going viral, on the internet is not the real one, and that reaches out to the parents, in their regional languages, it helps them understand that news. Also, we must not forget that, we are living in a country where we have, majority of schools, all of us have 25% students studying from the economically weaker section. And there are also a lot of parents who are not literate. They do not understand English. They're not very much able to understand what is a real news or a fake news. So here school can become a bridge and can really help them understand the real world. Along with that, a lot of sessions can be done. What we do in our school is, there's something where, in the admission form, we have something called SPOC. Now this SPOC is the sole point of contact. We want one person from home who is responsible for child's education, and we will give you one person from school who will be responsible for the child's education. Now these two, home SPOC and school SPOC, they work together for the child's well-being, mental, physical, sociological, psychological, everything. So if something which affects the students and has certain kind of implications can be gauged by the home SPOC and the school SPOC, so their teamwork develops the student. So what is right and what is wrong, what is real, what is fake, can be jointly worked upon by the home SPOC and the school SPOC. And I think school can play a lot of role. Also, there's something that we do here is that we have a community radio station, in our university that works with the school. So now community radio station reaches out to lots and lots of villages in the areas, in the interiors of, our region. And it is guided by the guidelines of Government of India. So even if, you're sharing any news in the community radio, you have to ensure the authenticity and legality of that news. So this kind of platform is also helpful to scale up and handle this challenge at a large scale, where we have a highly populated country, and that news might have created a big havoc, in all the interior regions of our country. So that is where community radio. So these are a lot of things where schools can bridge that gap, come up with their own newsletter, as Preeti ma'am said, your own news channel only for authentic news, but one assurance has to be there that schools have to be apolitical. They have to look beyond religions, beyond communities. It has to be the news. So that is what, I feel about the problem.
No, absolutely, absolutely. You've really shared that schools need to rise up and do the work that they were meant to do. They need to be apolitical. They need to spread that awareness and to the community at large. And the idea of the SPOC, I think that's a brilliant idea, because that really bridges and builds that triangle between the student, teacher, and the parent in the longer run as the child progresses throughout the school year. A lot of this misinformation and a lot of these hate crimes that I talked about are also being propagated through a lot of these social media companies, because they're really targeting your likes and dislikes and sharing the information with you according to that. And if I would really urge everybody to look at this beautiful movie called The Social Dilemma, which actually shares that how Facebook and all these social media companies are actually selling your time. They're actually, the commodity that they're selling is your time on their devices.
Right.
Siddharth sir, something has gone wrong. I feel network problem is there.
Yes, he was saying that due to cyclone, he's having some network issues. Maybe that's why he's facing the problem.
There could be some network issues. I'm there to support you. Good afternoon. If
Good afternoon,
not
sir.
there, let me come in and make sure that you guys
Very good
line.
afternoon, sir. Very good afternoon.
Very good afternoon, Abhi. How much information, especially, about everything which goes around. We start off with disinformation everywhere. How many of us go beyond the first page of a Google search? I think Preeti or Padmalata was talking about it. How many of us go beyond the optimization? How many of us going to the second page? How many of us remember that right through Sherlock Holmes, Arthur Conan Doyle has not even once written elementary, my dear Watson. So the challenge is we go by, I mean, you can write this down. God is love. Love is blind. Cut love and God is blind. You see? God is love. Love is blind. God is blind. You cut away love, you become God is blind. And that's the way we think over it. The boss has come back. Back to you, Siddharth.
Thank you, Colonel, for jumping in. Yes, let's take it from there. Really, apologies for the internet today at my end. So my next question is
apology, not normal apologies. Cyclonic, not misinformation. If you simply apologize, you are missing.
So I'm going to move to Mr. Rajesh Avasthi. Rajesh ji, I'm drawing from the conversation that we were having, and there was a report from Stanford in 2016 that about 80% of students are not able to differentiate between sponsored content and a legitimate story on social media. How do you think schools should deal with this? What should we do? You're on mute, Rajesh ji, you're on mute.
Okay, yeah, Siddharth. A large part of young people, they consume news from the social media. They do not consume news from the, shows, TV shows and all, it is the social media. And that includes, lot of sponsored content, and the validity determines, what is correct. Now, we have to see that at this age, the school-going students, the eldest one is around 17 years, 18 years old. So, peer pressure is really very high on this. And, what you believe in is determined by what is liked by or disliked by your reference group. So where I stopped earlier, talking about the behavioral issues, the fake news and the sponsored news and the student response or the human response is basically a behavioral issue. So this pressure works a lot on my likes and my dislikes also. So there may be certain things on Instagram, which my students or which my friends, they have liked. So I must like it. Many a times it so happens that I do it because I want to be cool in front of my peer group, reference group. And I share something because I want to be a hero, because I have shared something, which I do not know need to be shared or need not to be shared. And these are what you say, the students, they follow all these things from whom they to whom they consider as their idol. So maybe somebody whom they think that is a real life hero and is doing something on the internet, so I must do that. I must post related thing. You see, you go to the lot of videos on the YouTube available, and those videos are copy of what you call as AIB roast or similar kind of programs. So basically, it is more towards showing myself as a grown up, and then I understand something which I do not understand something which what I am doing. Second thing is that the individual implication depends largely on the type of misinformation. I mean, like unchecked advice. I mean, this unchecked advice could be on anything. It could be on healthcare, and you see, I mean, I have come across many girls following the keto diet, because it is there on the Facebook, and they want to look very smart. Now, it is not something which has a very scientifically advised to each and every individual. But then, because they want to look smart. Similarly, there are a lot of things available on the internet, even for the boys also, that they want to be handsome, and it's like using the cream which makes you fair in 7 days of time. So these are all unchecked advices. Maybe a lot of online courses. Now, in last 1 year, there are so many platforms which have come up, and I have seen students are crazy behind doing online courses, and they have got around 15 to 20 certificates without knowledge. So it is not because that they want to get, because it was available on them. So the catch line is that become a digital marketing expert in 3 hours per day time, and it is for 6 days, and then you become a digital marketing expert. So lot many things which happens is more towards the students peer group pressure, or they just want that they should have lot many things with them. Another very important thing, not only with the children but even with the adult, is that we have become crazy about breaking news. So I do not understand that why every 5 minutes we need a breaking news, and that breaking news comes through social media, and we believe in it. And we have examples. I shouldn't quote any, but then there are n number of examples, because we want to check the social media only because something new has come up. Maybe it is related to the lockdown, maybe it is related to the CBSE exam, or XYZ. Third thing is that the impact of this social media frenziness is that there is a lot of emotional issues arising among students. Say, for example, counting the likes, dislikes, and comments. So, I go to social media because I have posted something which I feel is, very heroic, but then I am not getting like on this, or I not, my post is not getting accepted the way I wanted it to be. So it is a double-edged sword, I mean, if it is not used wisely. Another important thing is that, it is making students more vulnerable, vulnerable to something which is as small as an internet scam, or something as dangerous as, being radicalized. I mean, there are again examples of radicalization through social media, and these are all the teenagers and the young adults who are getting affected because for them the trusted source is the social media. And finally, the pull of sponsored content, towards consumerism, I mean, directly interferes with the value education. Again, I'll repeat what I said, that technology cannot be blamed for fake news or the sponsored news, because, all type of contents are available on the internet. So it is not that it's only sponsored content and it's only the fake news. It is how you are using it, to what, it is attracted. So it is, something, a value education concept also I related to it.
Thank
So
you.
nowadays,
Yeah,
if you
thank you.
see, we have influencers. So we have, influencers for particular products. We have got, the marketing expert, the digital marketing experts. We have got bloggers who write about particular food item of a particular restaurant or a particular, product which the students they are attracted to, or particular game in this. So, bringing out students from this vicious circle is very, very important. And this can be done by the school and by the family also, because I do not
That's where my next question is there, Avasti ji. And the topic of social media and the implications it brings, that's a whole different plethora of and we can discuss over it for maybe, I think, the next one day, and still it wouldn't be enough. What are the problems that social media really brings in? So I'm with keeping time in mind, I'm quickly moving to Dr. Ojha. Dr. Ojha, what do you think? Do you think it's the entire responsibility lies on the schools, or there's more to the pie? Do more people need to come in to address this issue that we are discussing today?
For me, I feel every stakeholder in the education is responsible to take care of the child with all the four components in mind: physical, emotional, mental, and academic. When it comes to parents, which I see as the first teachers to the child, who more than the school hours are with the children, have to become an idol to show their children the usage of this technology. Very blunt, very raw, but this is how it has to go. How much ever we try to say, no, this is our responsibility and this is what we want. But there is a need which is created at a home space, which allows the child's curiosity to burn or go away. I feel that if the parent is from a background where he needs the best smartphone to create a kind of a marketing avenue where his son can be a huge important support, he will give it the child that particular gadget. He will allow the child to use that gadget to the extent the marketing skills are equipped in that child. So I think it is the responsibility of the school to let the children know these are the guidelines, children. This is how you can become a prey if you experience this kind of a information. How to avoid it? There are ways how to avoid it, but to experience it and to use it to the extent they want to, it has to be guided beautifully by the parents. I have parents who come to me at the age of 5 and say, which smartphone should I buy for my child? I want to give them for a birthday. And then the same parent comes at 12th standard, it says, can you lock it in your locker? He's using it too much. And I feel that where did that parent get into this dilemma? They think they take it sometimes very casually. The child sitting in a corner with a mobile all the time. There has to be a restriction, not by telling. Can you leave your mobile while you're sitting on the dining table? Can you as a parent tell the children no mobile time 9 to 12, we all sit together? Can you tell the children that there is a specific time or a portal that you will be using and we all are not using that site? Can you and me as a teacher and as a parent stop using the mobile? Can we stop walking on our corridors without a mobile in our hand? Can we ask our teachers not to take the mobile in the classroom? Can we ask? There are so many questions which come around. But I'm glad that this 1.5 years has given them an excess use of mobile. In the class, outside the class, they have got to know everything. They will become, I'm sure, extremely good decision makers to realize how much time is being consumed on what, which will be reflected to their parents in their behavior very soon. And the first alarm would be the parents there. And I'm sure that it is very, Mr. Siddharth, I would like to just add one more point here. It's very difficult to stop yourself and tell your child, do it. It is very difficult. The minute the child is falling, the mother goes and holds the child. Let the child use the gadget. Let the children read the paper. Let the children go on the Instagram and get that kick in their life that, okay, fine, that's a great news coming up. Let them evolve with that emotion, reflect within in a time when the family sits together. Okay, what did you see? What did you find? Do you think it's right? Does it give you an uplifted feeling? Is it positive? Or then discard it? You know, this is kind of information that has to be gathered among the family member and teachers when the children go to these platforms. When you start judging, "Oh, you saw that website? Did you go and do this there? Oh, that's wrong." The children will stop telling you everything. You need to let them know that if you're making friends with that network, I'm also friendly to you. You can come and talk to me about it. That needs a huge orientation to all of us as an adult. That is how I can look forward to this kind of a solution. What you say?
Yeah, that was very, very, very thoughtful. And you've really said that parents need to bring along, and the way you've pointed out that you could choose some portals wherein you get information. I think that is really important, and the way the government is also trying to regulate this social media space and the news that we see right now, I think it's a very, very valid argument that you bring in. So quickly to Padmalata ji, with shortage of time, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to respond, and then we'll have one question with which everybody can pitch in maybe for a minute. So can you give me some nitty-gritties into how can we make children critically thoughtful when they're reading online information, especially when all the teaching and learning is happening online in the pandemic? So quickly in 2 minutes, ma'am, please.
Yes, Siddharth. I would like to just give a small example which happened in our school actually. So there was this very good student who was really good at everything. Academics and co-academics and everything. Then one fine day, suddenly a fake Facebook ID on his name pops up and it goes around the whole school. So like the student was, he was so down. And then like as the saying goes, necessity is the mother of invention actually. So then like all the students and we got together and made a team called Digital Detectives. So everyone knew that what was present in the Facebook of that particular student was false. But still it went around like the talk of the whole school. And then like we started, like our earlier panel members have suggested, we have a news room. We have the Nalanda News channel. And also we made a team called the Digital Detectives. So these digital detectives, actually, we trained them how to think. Like in our academics, as a CBSE board has given like critical thinking, case-based solutions, case-based questions. So not only in academics, we also teach our children how to apply what they have learned in academics to their day-to-day lives. That is more important. That is the real thing of education, isn't it? So apply what they have learned outside. So when the digital detectives started getting into the crux of the problem, then slowly they could identify like what to believe and what not to believe. We also came up with a solution called CRAP solution. So if the news or the item does not satisfy this CRAP, C-R-A-P, it is real crap. So the CRAP is it current? Is it currently going on? What is really happening? Next, is it reliable? Is it there in all the news channels or only one particular channel? Who is the author? Like, do they know the author? Can they identify the author? Is the author's name hidden or not hidden? And what is the purpose of this article? Is it pointing out at someone? Does it have sharp words? So if it passes this crap, then fine, it is good. Or
Yeah,
it is
thank
really
you.
to be thrown under crap. So
Yeah,
these
I'll stop you there, ma'am. Thank you. I think the digital detective is a brilliant solution, and I think there's a thread with Ojha ma'ams and Chitkara ma'ams. All of you talk about bringing students into these committees wherein they're involved in the decision making process. So quickly, I'm going to ask a last statement, and maybe everyone could respond with one-liners. We have just about 4 minutes. So 2020 is a milestone in India's journey, and for India to become a knowledge superpower. And it is silent on anything to do with information and equipping children to handle the challenge of misinformation. How would you react to that? Do you think that going further, we need to develop outcomes such that we measure such endeavors in which we help children understand misinformation? I'll start with Mr. Pandey, and then we'll go to Dr. Chitkara.
Thank you, sir. It's a really good point you have taken. The nation is created inside the school classroom. So, starting can be done in school, sir, and then we can collaborate. We can ask the parent, vendors, like everyone, society people. Like what I used to do in my school, in the morning assembly, I used to call one chief guest every day, one chief guest. So, different professional people, I used to call them. And then I used to give them time and then request them to speak something about their profession. So in this manner, what I did, sir, to all my school, 200 days are there almost. So not 200 chief guests, but 150 chief guests would come and they will guide the children, right? So what I mean to say, anywhere learning can happen from anywhere, formal also, informal also. So this all we have to create a good nation, sir, and this can be done from us, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Your parting comments.
My parting comments are that life is all about making choices. So today we do not say that somebody is knowledgeable or less knowledgeable. Somebody has made right choice or wrong choice. Is the real person who's a successful person. So I feel, to deal with this problem, we can involve more stakeholders. Government is another stakeholder. So you can have child rights committee, you can have cyber cell people coming and orienting, telling stories to students about what's going on, what is right, what is wrong. And for higher education, MBA specifically, they can come up with wonderful modules on critical consuming while they are teaching consumerism and business.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Avasthi, 15 seconds.
Imbibing critical and analytical skills.
Yes, Dr. Ojha, your parting statement.
Yeah, I feel that we should provide children the environment to generate curiosity in them to know what is right and wrong. We all say that let them know, tell them, but generate that curiosity in them so that they become the real ones to say whether they would like to see the fake news or they agree or disagree.
Yeah, thank you. Padmalata ji.
Yes, I think gone are the days when the teacher was a sage on the stage. Now we have to be facilitators and teach them that empathy to put themselves in the other person's shoes and get to know what is what and try to feel the other person and have that empathy and go ahead with not putting down the others, but going hand in hand with everyone. During this pandemic, I think we need that to do it together, all of us together.
Yeah.
Children need to know that empathy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to all the panelists for joining in, all the viewers. I think that was a great discussion, and everybody is, of this thought that this is a challenge that we need to address, and everybody, the entire ecosystem needs to come together to help our children understand the challenge of information. So over to the team of ScooNews.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you,
Great, sir.
everyone.
Great.
It was great
Thank
meeting.
you, Siddharth and the team. It was wonderful hearing you, interacting with you. Disinformation, misinformation, digital detectives, who says what? Gossip becomes the truth. Facebook, Amazon, Alphabet, everyone going in and making your money, an emotion-based economy. Great. Thank you, Siddharth. Despite the cyclone, and to each and every member of the wonderful team, Rajesh Avasti, Niyati Chitkara, Padmalata, Dr. Preeti Oja, and of course, Siddharth was the star. Take care. God bless you.
Thank you.
Right. Hello, Dr. Dheeraj. Are you there? Dr. Dheeraj, are you there? Good afternoon. How are you?
Very good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
I am doing fine. The national awardee has moved towards the to the northeast. How come?
Just for a change. Learning was due. A lot of learning, it has to be there.
Yeah, yeah. If the first session was on the challenges, the second was on information, disinformation. Siddharth handled it quite well. Now we are coming into socio-emotional, maybe cultural, all kinds of learning. So, Siddharth, what are your thoughts on it before the formidable Dr. Dheeraj takes over? Siddharth, if you are there.
Yeah, I think socio-emotional is the need of the hour. We've seen, I think, from the first discussion that you had, we need to equip teachers, we need to equip students to handle such difficult times. So it's absolutely, and I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Indeed, and how impactful misinformation and disinformation has on the socio-emotional, cultural mindset of a student and a teacher. How difficult it is, Siddharth, to even think about it.
No, it's a big factor. It's a big factor. You can wonder what would it do to a teenager if he or she has a fake profile on something like an Instagram or Facebook with inappropriate pictures, and everybody, the entire school talking about it, 2,000, 3,000 students talking about it. You can just, I wouldn't be able to share that with you, but I think if you peep into the mind of that teenager, that would tell you what it does to that person.
Exactly. So that's the perfect handover in the right manner to a topic where socio-emotional, cultural, and economic aspects comes over. Thank you very much, Siddharth and the team. Over to you, Dr. Dheeraj, the formidable Dr. Dheeraj. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much. And it's really a great pleasure for me to initiate another very apt topic for today, managing the social, economical, emotional, in fact, cultural impact of COVID-19. And we have all been through this for the last, I would say, a couple of years, if I say so. Nobody was prepared for this notion, but certainly we had to. And we had to has taught us so many things. We've had so many challenges, but yes, each one of us have come out, particularly as a winner and as a learner. And that is the very spectrum, not only from the student's point of view, but also the teachers' learning and the preparedness now they have for new normal, it's particularly well informed, well calculated, and well prepared as far as the technology is concerned. So I welcome wonderful participants today for this panel. We have Dr. Sanjay Kumar, Madam Shanoli Ray, Ms. Sumant Sood, Madam Seema Bhatnagar, Madam Sonia Gandhi, Madam Vinita Panhania, and Madam Sri Rakha Prasad. Well, to initiate the learning, we also have a reflection on the ideas we are going to be discussing today. Of course, each one of us come with a great experience to the very initiation of how we are catering to this very challenge we are facing at our workplace, and also from the side of the parents, from the side of the students, about answering odd replies and even replies at times. But it should carry on. The learning should carry on. That is what is a priority. Well, obviously, the spectrum goes with the very initiation of how we cater to the requirements and how we confirm that very attribute of learning. The objection at times comes, but yes, with the very initiation, it is overruled at times. So I'd just like to have a little round of introduction. Madam Sonia Gandhi S. is the principal of Sri Chandra Gupta Maurya International School. And then we have, that's the first and the only Cambridge school in Theni district. The Theni district, probably she'll be the right person to explain. Then we have Madam Seema Bhatnagar, who is an educationist, author, a traveler, I would say not retired, but ready to reckon. She had been a principal for over 15 years. I met her when she was the principal at DPS Jaipur, and that's how we have wonderful memories. A lifelong learner, and now spiritual journey is what she says she's into. And presently the vice president with Maria Montessori, which has branches in Delhi, NCR, besides the few other places as well. Then we have Madam Vinita Patania, who's the principal at Brightland School, also an enthusiast educationist with great enthusiasm for learning innovative ways to bring joyfulness in children's lives. She loves traveling, music, and being in the company of children. Then we have Madam Sumant Sood, the director of BD Memorial School in Kolkata. She had been in the National Core Committee member, Early Childhood Association, British Council School Ambassador, a passionate early childhood educator representing preschool and primary education in many education committees. A lifelong learner, loves to travel and tries to understand. Well, that's learning. That's learning. And the education system of other countries as well. Then, of course, Madam Sonia is the founder of Read and Lead, a community for learners and readers, where she creates summaries of the best help books and help people lead better lives. Dr. Sanjay Kumar Malik is the Dean Academics at DPS Chas Bokaro, Jharkhand, a psychologist, motivator, a CBSE resource person, and a career counselor. And then we have Madam Shanoli Ray, the principal of SJPS Haldia, West Bengal. She is the executive member of Knowledge Committee, Association of Indian Principals and Global Edu Leaders Forum, a professional member of Institute of Global Professionals, and community member of Women Tech Network, California. So this is all about our members. I'm Dr. Dheeraj Mehrotra myself, representing NPS International School at Guwahati in the Northeast. And I have pleasure to send greetings from Guwahati to all of you. Well, that's the initiation. I would now request the first speaker for today, Dr. Sanjay Kumar, to initiate. How do you think we are able to manage the emotional aspect of a learner in a child? Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir, and the fellow panelists. Am I audible? Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Okay. The emotional aspect, what I wish to highlight here and what need to be done. No doubt in last 2 years, we had suffered a lot. Teachers have suffered a lot. Student has suffered a lot. Now, when I think about that, what could have been done better, I will not hesitate to say that we thought is the technology is the only solution we have. And through that, as much as information we can pass on, that will be for the survival of all of us. And we did that without even considering that how much the workload it is on teacher, how much workload on students. Now, in this workload, we've forgotten the emotional aspect of it. We kept saying that, yes, this is a new challenges. We will try to learn. We will try to deliver. We will able to do it. All toxic positivity from the leader side to the teacher side. In one of the seminar, I just asked, and we were very proudly saying that, yes, we are very successful. Now, in that, the emotional aspect of the teachers, I conducted one survey that how it has affected. And I found most of the teachers, online harassment part, they are not aware of. They said that, no, we were very comfortable. And the responded were from across 20 cities in India, and always saying that, no, we did not face harassment. I then a call 9 o'clock from a student, right? Leaving everything and trying to answer. I hope internet, I'm audible? Okay, so there the teachers are really faced hardship. And the leaders always said, fine, it is a matter of time. We'll be able to overcome. And those children at home with the teachers are being ignored. Now that is having the bearing on teachers' mind. Now in this aspect, teachers has suffered a lot. Now, as far as the student is concerned, we thought that we'll be able to engage them. And that will stop the problem. The child is every time having a mobile phone or the laptop or iPad in their hand and they're trying to work out something. But first, after 6 months, they were just doing it. No more interested now. Okay, let me in between the classes watch YouTube. Teachers were claiming it, I am successful to impart the knowledge. Reason behind that, we were totally depending on transforming of information. There was a no emotional connect. Now I have a say here, when the school reopens, when physically there, okay, we have 20% knowledge transfer and 80% knowledge transfer and 20% care. Now in the post-pandemic, as for all the panelists and the attendees who are listening, it shall be 20% knowledge transfer, 80% emotional care. Reason behind that, we are more emotionally disturbed. Our life pattern has changed. The children's life pattern has changed. They are not, out of habit, getting up morning 6 o'clock, becoming ready. Parents are also relaxing. They're not putting efforts into that. All of a sudden, when it happens, we are expecting the children are excited. No, they're not excited, because habit formation has taken place. You will find really difficult when they will go to the class that after 10 minutes, their head will go down like this. They're not able to stand erect. They're not able to sit properly. So what we need to do is the emotional support will be at the top priority. We will stop for a while that, okay, fine. They will learn the content syllabus. We will be able to complete. This is for the leadership to take care. That every time if we say that each and every aspect is on the top priority, we will fail. The second part of thing, Dheeraj sir, I hope you will acknowledge with me. We said that we are able to take online classes. And I kept asking, how many of teachers has done online courses? Is it like I'm speaking here? Is it I'm online confident of taking, am I taking class? No, I'm just talking. I'm sharing my ideas. learning is happening or not, I'm not able to know it. I might ask that raise your hand, you will raise your hand, and that's it. So the online platform, the emotional aspect, the post-pandemic emotional aspect need to be taken care, and the leadership should support teachers. That yes, I'm with you. I know you are also disturbed, but let us do it in this way.
Well said.
With this
Well
note,
said, sir. We'll come back to you. Yeah,
thank you.
we'll come back
Sure,
to
sir.
you. For sure, friends, we do understand. And even, the studies and the lives of those currently in school will be impacted in multiple ways, some yet to be understood. And that comes with without knowing, actually, when we come across, talk to people, get to inputs from people around. And that, furthermore, of course, it is going to be putting up into great challenging shoes. So now I request Madam Shanoli Ray to explain the priorities as parents, what they should be doing, because they are coping up with the level of the learning being delivered by the teachers. But for sure, what type of a mental connect do you think that parents should have in addition to their responsibilities with the children?
A very good afternoon to all the panelists and to Dr. Dheeraj. Yeah. I would like to share my opinion. I'm totally agree with what Dr. Sanjay has just narrated, that this unprecedented challenge that we are facing for the last 2 years, and hopefully it will continue maybe for another year or two. So we are coping up with lots of new normals right now. So first of all, the most impacted section of the society are the children, I think. And as the result shows that among the children, the restlessness, nervousness, anxiety, and first of all, loneliness has been increased a lot. So in this regard, and another aspect is that for the last 2 years, the students are completely lacking the school culture. Especially being principal of the primary school, I have observed that the nursery students that have taken admission last year and this year, they didn't even, in the initial stages, they didn't even has the opportunity to come to the school. And that is what affected their cognitive development as well as moral development. Thinking about all these aspects, observing the recent development in the children of my school or in the society children, and as well as the emotional, thinking about the emotional aspect of all the stakeholders of a school. In my school, actually, I have come up with some solutions that I would like to share with my fellow panelists. One such solution is tele-counseling, which I have been found very much, positive feedback among the parents as well as the students. Getting positive feedback, I am applying this method for the last 6-7 months. And in this method, it is completely like in-person communication among the children, parents, as well as the teachers or educators. So what we are doing, we are scheduling a 10 to 15 minute session of video conferencing individually to each child. So the class teachers and also myself has been trained accordingly. We contacted with psychotherapists and some psychologists and had session for the well-being of all the staff. And they suggested that this method may work good for all the parents as well as the students. So while individual attention is given to the students as well as the parents also joining the session, first of all, the students were being allowed to speak up their minds, not being judged. Whatever they want to say, they are allowed to say and not being judged. And in this way, we have found that some de-stressing has happening to the children. They now know that they can speak up their mind, they are encouraged to ask questions. Sometimes what happens, the parents also suppress them, whether they are asking so many questions and all, parents also cannot give answer and suppress them. So here they are encouraged to ask questions. As many as questions they want to ask, they are encouraged. And we try to give answers both in cooperation with the parents as well as the educators ourselves. And this has boosted confidence among the children at large, we have found out. Also, we are encouraging the students to be a leader in their house or in the nearby society to follow the safety measures for the COVID. That some of the measures are being demonstrated in the online session, like sneezing or coughing on the elbow, or wearing mask, how to wear mask properly, and all these. And they are encouraged to be a leader in following those steps, and also encourage their family members to follow all these healthy steps. So this has been found that children are, they are getting enthusiasm also, because they are becoming monotonous, staying inside the house, only attending that online class and all. And also another thing that we are encouraging the parents to involve their children into some household work, like they can do the simple dusting of the house or some simple work, making snacks and all. That also not only bring the family close together, but also the children will get some encouragement that their life is not, they are not missing the part that they should get while coming out of the house, playing with their friends, or coming to the school. So this is the first measure that we have taken, and till now we get a very positive feedback from the parents also, because they also found this session quite interesting. They are also allowed to ask few questions that we try to solve or give them answer. Second is that we are doing a session every day, uh, at least 4 days in a week for 10 or 15 minutes, that involves some physical activity. And there also, parents are also participating along with all the educators, school, myself, and others.
I agree with you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Now, certainly looking at your deliberations, for sure, we believe that a vast majority of children, who have lost opportunities to learn because of the pandemic. And it will be hard to recover from these losses in particular. The harder, the longer the period, the physical isolation from the other students and the teachers will certainly, page a new challenge of their understanding. And we at the education fraternity obviously will feel it as a disadvantage for so many losses in that particular preference. So, arguably, very true that there is a grim picture of how the COVID pandemic will shape the educational landscape and the future of the next decades to come. We have our national education policy framework to even achieve, but I'm really sorry. I'm afraid that against all odds, particularly with the spectrum currently, how and when and what way we are going to be revisiting our attributes of attaining that. So we have our next speaker for today, Madam Suman Sood. Ma'am, how do you think the economic impact of COVID-19, particularly on ground of school management, running the school, and the challenges the school owners are facing in particular to exist for sure? Because I've heard even, many of the pre-primary schools had to shut down because of the challenges they've had from the economic front. So over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm especially thankful to ScooNews and Mr. Ravi Santlani and team, and the whole team here, to all the educators I'm thankful for the opportunity to be present here at such an esteemed platform to interact and to share and learn. So regarding the economic impact, as you said, Mr. Merut, this is a reality, and a reality which we really have to face, and we are facing. You very rightly said, schools, they have been shut down, and many of these, and unfortunately, many of these schools, which the preschools, as you said, they were like run by women entrepreneurs. So this is even more sad, because with great fortitude and with great determination and with great courage, these women had come forward and they had started working, and they had really taken up these schools and taken their passion to a level. But unfortunately, many of them have had to close down. There is a great impact on the economic systems of the schools. Salaries are to be paid, schools are to be run. Of course, there are some expenses which have been spared. Well, probably teachers have been working from home, so they are not spending on transport, and they're not spending on other things. But families have to be maintained, and many of their families, they've lost their jobs. Their main earning household members they have also lost their jobs. So how to cope up with all that? Managements have had a very tough time. They're still having a tough time. Parents have, unfortunately, many of them, even those who have been, they can pay, but they have not come forward to pay the fees, or to give the fees for their children, because they are thinking that online classes, so our children are not going to school, so we don't need to pay the fee. So unfortunately, there have been many issues regarding this, and the courts have also been involved. High court settlements have been there, some Supreme Court settlements have been there. So I think basically we all need to go through this hand in hand. And I'm very proud and very fortunate to say that our management, and I'm sure management of many other schools also, who are able to afford and who are able to go through this crisis, they have taken it in their stride, and they have said that, okay, it's 1 year, 2 years maximum, we will come out of it. So it is that determination, it is with that courage, and it is with that positive attitude that they are hand-holding each other, they are hand-holding the teachers, they are making sure that our teachers do not suffer. The main expenses which need to be done, they are being done, irrespective of the fact whether we are getting the revenue or whether we are not getting the revenue. So I think that kind of courage, that kind of determination, if the managements can exhibit, that would make us come out of it, and we will emerge as winners. And maybe it's just a year. We have overcome so many situations in the past. I was just reading Mr. Ratan Tata's statement, when he had said also the same thing, that we have come out of so many situations, so why not this? This is just a temporary phase. We will come out of it. So we just need to be patient. We need to make sure that we don't let each other suffer. If there is a need, we must be there to support each other, and we must understand that whatever is the impact, that we can lighten that impact, and we can make sure that we can come over this, and we can be main thing, I think, is collaboration and hand-holding, and being patient, and making sure that we don't let the great warriors, especially our teachers, who have taken all this in their stride, and overnight they have taken on to this platform to teach and to learn and to share. So
that's all, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Madam, you have highlighted really facts in the best of the possible manner, for sure. We need to talk about preparedness. We need to talk about getting connected.
Dr. Dheeraj, there are a couple of questions which would be interesting. There's a lot of insight coming in. People are.
Okay, we'll get back to it once my first round is over. Probably we'll get to the questions also. So in that case, I'll just come up with Madam Seema Bhatnagar. But before that, I would like to also showcase of the fact that the worst response from educators would be to ignore the educational significance of the pandemic, to pretend that this is not an educational issue, that it will be short-lived, or that the consequences on education will be minimal. I'm sorry, this response is one of the most likely ones to cause severe disruptions to education for most children in particular, and the greatest disparities in educational opportunities in particular. So, Madam, keeping that phase in view, what do you think like we are sailing through, and what is our next destination?
Thank you very much, Dr. Dheeraj. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, I would like to continue from what Mrs. Suman Sood was talking about, the economic impact. All right. And then I'll come to the point you have raised now. Economic impact is something which is immediate, but there is a long-lasting impact in the society. A child who doesn't study, whose learning process has slowed down, almost slowed down for 1.5 years. Now his earning capabilities after 10 years, after so many years, are going to be affected. And I went through a research paper of Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, if you must have heard about. It is an organization which actually works on policy developments for various countries. And it is very specifically mentioned that these children who are in the school from class 1 to 12 will suffer 3% loss in their entire lifetime, 3% of earning. And it is going to affect the GDP of the country, 1.5%. And this is just because of there are learning impacts, learning delays, there is a decrease in learning. And now this is all of us as teachers, we know that it is happening. We take classes, we know how much we can be effective on the online, how many students are we able to reach out online. So that's a limited number. And effectiveness is also a question mark right now. Okay, effectiveness you can check only once they come back to the classrooms. Now let us come to what Dr. Dheeraj is saying. Once they come to the classroom, think of a scenario in an individual classroom. There will be increased learning variations. In one classroom, a teacher will be facing students where every child will be on a very different platform. Because in last 1.5 years, how learning has happened is all dependent on not only what teacher is teaching, but also on the families. If parents have been able to support out of the school learning for these children, probably these learning variations will be less. Learning variations taking from a standardized position. And if the parents have not been able to support it, there will be a child at this level, at this level, at this level. And a teacher has to deal with all these students in one class. So when we talk about reopening of the schools, I think there is a lot more to be done than, sanitizing it, putting the mask and social distancing and thinking about all this. A teacher has to face much more than what is expected right now. So I think Dr. Sanjay was talking about the teachers' harassment that is happening on the online. But I have come up from the lower ranks. I have been a teacher. Teachers are pulled up. They are open to this thing and they know how to get out of it. They know how to handle their children. In online classes, they are not able to do it because that kind of a control is not there. Plus, their teachers are they are not so tax heavy, so they are not able to handle some of the situations. It doesn't matter, but that is a very small thing in front of the kind of situation that we are facing right now. Some of the points that teachers have to work hard. Now teachers have to work smart. And what I foresee is a lot of training is required for the teachers at this moment before the schools reopen, because they have to handle individualized instructions. Since there are learning variations in one classroom, there will be individualized instructions. If there are individualized instructions, if there are learning variations, I think there will be different ways of assessing the child. And these remedies have to be applied immediately, as early as possible. Otherwise, the learning gaps that are developing will increase, and it will ultimately affect the GDP of the nation. Because when the earning of a child will come down because his learning has not come to that level, he has not been able to acquire that kind of skills, naturally everything is going to go haywire here. So the role of the teachers is different, very challenging than what it is right now. This is what is my understanding of the whole situation. Now, if with this you make a situation where the child has come out of or is going through emotional trauma. So when we talk about emotional trauma, it is the emotional traumas are huge. They are huge because they have seen pain. They have seen their family members suffering pain. They have seen the losses in the family. They have, if they have not seen it in their family, they have seen it on the TV screens. They've read it in the news. They have the kind of things that we never saw in our childhood. Because of the digital media, everything has come right in front of the children. So what is happening is, if a child comes to the classroom with that kind of a trauma, and he's not able to speak, children do not have the vocabulary to express their trauma. So there is an individual talking that has to happen. There is a counseling that has to happen. And what has happened to the children has also happened to the teachers. Teachers also have suffered loss. We know the news, there are many teachers who have lost their lives. There are many, this thing, because of the election duties and all. So it is a very situation where we are probably beyond national education policy. We are beyond the curriculum to be covered. We are beyond all these things, and focus on the child to come to a level where he accepts the learning. Prepare the teacher where she is ready, confident to deal with new situations in the classroom. That's what I think. And I don't know, Dr. Dheeraj, if there is anything else.
Yeah, that's really the fact, in fact, what you've shared, and we all are passing through.
If I missed out any point that you raised, then please let me know.
No, you did deliver in the best of the format. But only thing is that we need to learn how to cope up with the scenario, as we know that the pandemic rapidly sweeps, and it has been doing all around the world. And there has been an induced degree of fear, worry, and concern among all of us. Why not the children be? Obviously. And then we as educators, we as parents, we as adults need to talk to them right across that, see, this is the fact. And we need to tell them about how we can be cared for, we can be caring, and how our heads of governments, are taking initiatives to cater to this as a initiative, part of what decisions should be taken. Every day we get to know about the new policies being implemented and the new protocols being put into. So the new spectrum here lies with the educators here is to cope up with being a problem solver, sharing things, cheering people on, learning from the experience, re-evaluating priorities and reflecting on how people coped up with far worse in the past. Like we have been comparing about the pandemics and epidemics and how we cater to. So with that reference, I request Madam Sonia Gandhi to initiate her views. Over to you, ma'am. You can just be closer to the computer, please, ma'am.
Sure.
Come near to the screen. Are you using an external mic? No, we are not able to hear you. But anyway, you can try that, ma'am.
Am I audible now, sir?
Yeah, it's better. It's better. Please.
Okay. A very good afternoon to everyone, and thanks much for the opportunity provided. So, in my views, to address the social, emotional, and cultural needs of the teachers, parents, and students, I think we need to teach the lessons that we all have failed to teach so far. The lessons that will help them to lead better lives, the lessons that might help them to deal with the future crisis. So I would say we need to focus on 2 R's, which is reflect and rework. By the term reflect, I mean a critical self-reflection. So when I say self-reflection, all of us as human beings, we need to list down all the roles that we play as an individual in this human life. Maybe, for example, a teacher is not just a teacher. A teacher is a mother, a sister, a friend, and so on. So after listing down all the roles that we play in our life, we need to rate ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10. And I don't think all of us will score a 10 on 10 in all of the roles. So this is high time we need to reflect here. And how will this help? When we make progress in one of the area, it will definitely help us improve other areas of our life. So the focus of the rest of our life would be to make simple progress every single day to score 10 on 10 on each of these roles that we play as a human being. And then comes the second R, which is rework. Our critical self-analysis will provide us with a report of 3 important data. Number 1, the current state of our life. Number 2, the habits that are stopping us from scoring 10 on 10 on each area. And number 3, the habits that we need to build to achieve 10 on 10. To put it short, we now have the data after the reflection, which would be the current state of our life, the habits to build, and the habits to break. So what will we do with this? With this, we need to work on ourselves. For the whole of our life, we all have been fooling ourselves, working completely. We were busy being busy, working for our schools, working for new projects, new targets. That's fine. But this is the high time we need to work on our own self. When we work on our own self, I think we will succeed, not just in the profession as an educator, but we will also succeed in the quality of our life. Our intellectual, spiritual, emotional life will definitely improve. And it will also help in improvements of our character, of our relationship, of the parenting. So when every one of us get involved in the self-improvement, I think we can deal with this crisis. And I think this is the high time we need to do this because we cannot hire someone to do our push-ups. So this is my point, sir.
That's for sure. That's for sure, ma'am. I really appreciate that. You can't hire people to do your push-ups. That's well shared. And obviously, we need to understand about this very priority. Well, now I come forward to Madam Vinita Pahania. Ma'am, what do you think we are catering to and whether we'll be in what aspect we as educators will be facing this and learning and passing through in the best way? What's your views on this, please? Kindly unmute yourself. Kindly unmute yourself, ma'am.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you, Dr. Dheeraj. I would first of all like to congratulate ScooNews for this noble venture. And definitely this was the need of the hour, that all the educators come together and they find a solution to a global problem. Because what is at stake is, of course, our children at school. So I believe there's a great responsibility on us as educators. And we need to help students have a clear understanding of our culture. We want them to develop and transform into responsible citizens. We want them to be better at understanding the community. And of course, think about the development of the country as well, if we look at the larger perspective. So what I believe, there's a great level of pragmatism required to re-engineer and redirect our whole educational system. And how can that be possible? As of now, I believe there's a great need to build the trust and faith among all the stakeholders, which includes, of course, our teachers, because they are the ones who are actually inside and in between the entire storm. They are the ones who are actually facing the brunt. Okay. So all this while we had been going through a lot of survival strategies. We took whatever came our way, and now I think it's time for us to improvise. So the whole ecosystem, when it changes in a school, when the teachers, they evolve into not just teachers, they are not just the sages there on the stage, they are the guide who can who can be there next to the child. And this is, I think, the best opportunity that we are getting to understand our children, understand their learning needs. Each one of them, now we are able to clearly identify as to how much we need to do for them within the limited resources that we as a school have, as a teacher has, and what the child has. So the whole, I believe the pedagogical structure needs to undergo a change. We need to, again, unlearn and relearn. A lot of new skills and strategies need to be adopted. And there has to be, again, this has been reiterated since time immemorial, that we have to give up and shift from rote learning. The knowledge accumulation factor that was kind of very, very, intensely being formulated. We need to, again, get into a system where we can prepare children to be managing conflicts. Again, just as Dr. Dheeraj said, that they have to be problem solvers. So how do we do that? The first thing is we need to connect with them. And to connect with the child, it's important we connect with the family. We connect with the parents. So in a way, we can organize certain sessions where we take them into confidence. We tell them openly whatever we feel, what cooperation they can probably render. And as a team, when we work for the children, I think we do get results. Like Ma'am Suman had mentioned about the pre-primary. I would say that we had certain sessions in our school where we engaged mothers in the pre-primary. We got them involved so much that they kind of took the onus of working with their children as per our direction. So in a way, I believe if not on a larger scale, but up to a certain considerable scale, we have been able to achieve what we wanted to achieve. So I would say that the culture that needs to be now developed is the culture of learning, both in the children, the parents, and the teachers. We have to keep learning and evolving out of this situation. And if I talk about how schools can work, there can be, again, more collaboration among schools, coming together to see how we can work out. And then the motivational strategies that we as schools on different platforms that we are using, we need to have an exchange where we can share with each other how are we motivating our children, how are we bringing them to the mainstream. And again, identifying our learners is, again, I would like to talk about that we need to identify all the different kind of learners that are there. Howard Gardner's theory, which talks about different kind of learners that exist. We have to get it. it's not just about thinking whether the glass is half or the glass is full. Now is the time to go beyond that and think whether the glass, the water in it, is it hot or is it cold? Is there air in it? Can we create music out of that? So there's a whole paradigm shift which is needed. So I believe if all the energies that schools are, running their institutions with, everything comes together, and we together, as a unified, effort, we work on this, I think we'll be able to do wonders. So it's all about collaboration. Collaboration.
That's really great, ma'am. Thank you very much, Vinita, ma'am. Now we have Sri Rekha Prasad, ma'am. But before that, I would like to initiate something like keeping ourselves motivated as educators during this current scenario, where there's pain, suffering, death, lockdown, loneliness, world as seems like getting towards standstill. What requires is motivation, connect, engagement. Of course, it's a maddening scenario to keeping calm, balanced, composed mind, keeping yourself motivated is the only approach. So as educators, we do have that attribute now to govern, to be in touch with our students. And that is what is the priority, I say, that the teachers need to go an extra mile here to connect with their parents and the students and even the colleagues in a big way. Over to you, Sri Rekha ma'am, to initiate that.
Very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much, organizers and Mr. Dheeraj sir, for providing me this opportunity. Each and every panelist who have said, I completely agree to the whole lot. And I'm very blessed that I've got an opportunity for listening to everybody. And I would thank even online sessions that this is possible just because COVID came. So let me think about now all these negative impacts, pros and cons are there everywhere. Whatever case you take, there are pros and cons. But let us look into only the positive side now. Let us look into how we can come out of it. Now the session is as a whole, what we can do next. The negative side exists. All this emotional problems everywhere it exists. It is the fact we have to accept it. But how to come out and what else we can do. Let us think about what we can do. I would like to share just a few things which I have done in my school. I would share only that. So how the socio-emotional and cultural development we have made in a school. I'll say separately for what we did for the teachers, what we did for the parents, what we did for the students. First for the teachers, anyway, as Dheeraj sir said rightly, my point is completely related to how we have to connect, motivate. Most important thing is motivate. And how we can connect and what we can do for them. So based on that, what we did for these teachers first. Teachers were the ones who have to, give them, impart the knowledge. First thing at the time when the lockdown started itself, I remember in 2000, I did for an online training, online course. It was accidental, but it favored me a lot. So we were able to give the training sessions for the teachers. And same way, COE Trivandrum, from COE Trivandrum, principals, RPs all, every day we were spending 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Mani Sergi sir from Center of Excellence Random was giving training session for the teachers, and we were imparting the same session to the teachers. And there was a continuous training sessions going on for the teachers. And from management side, they provided laptops. They bought laptops in bulk and they gave it away to the teachers because they were not able to afford for it. So it was given to the teachers. Training was done for the teachers in school physically, and then online also was given. And they have done the training sessions at school, and they have, after going home, we all used to connect with teachers. They used to do it. There were many teachers who have just a laptop for the first time. Even after that, I must say that they are very fast learners. I would say that teachers are the ones who did not get the recognition earlier. Now they have got recognized because parents are able to see them, how much they are working from their house. And now they don't have any criticism at all. To be very frank, every PTA meetings which we are having now, teachers are getting too much of respect because they say that this much, we have never thought that this much hard you work. And that recognition they have got. So teachers were motivated. I motivated my teachers, my managers motivated the teachers, and teachers are the ones who have to motivate the students. We all spend time for motivating students and connecting with them. For every 6 to 7 students, one teacher used to get connected. As someone said earlier, telephonically, we used to contact like that. It's really important to get connected, emotionally. So online sessions also, when we do at that time also, what we make them. Here also somebody said that doing physical exercises. So just before starting all these, when we gave the training to teachers, netiquette class was given for the teachers. Netiquette video was taken. It was given to the students also. So they learned how to, practice the netiquette, how they have to sit. We said that we have to sit in front of the wall, or we have to sit in front of the curtain. And when you're practicing, you have to be, well dressed in the way as you come to the school. Same, all those netiquette rules we gave to the students as well as to the teachers. It was imparted well. And after coming to the sessions also, we gave them the freedom that you must have a bottle of lukewarm water and you should keep on hydrating yourself. And you're having the freedom that whenever you feel tired, or whenever your legs become numb, you have to get up and can start doing some exercises. And engaging the students positively is very important. We tried with many innovative methods where, students used to teachers used to get into the class with a surprise, putting on the mask, and they used to enter into the class with the mask. They used to have finger puppets. So like that, they used to get engaged. Same way as somebody said about biological clock get affected for the students as well as for the teachers and all. Teachers were having sleepless nights. I must say that everybody got, extended learning. And then these teachers used to work out for this, puppets and all. The students, demand started increasing, and later it happened so that students also started sitting with, face mask in front of the classrooms. So it was all about how to engage the students, how to keep them, engaged. That is what most important thing was. Then what we used to do for the teachers as well was, motivating and giving them rewards. There was a time when teachers became very much panicked when they thought maybe I may not be able to do. In such cases, we gave them little few days, holidays, and we said you can learn according to your pace. It's okay. And then for training them and for supporting them, a few teachers were given who were, technologically a little more advanced. They supported them. And same way, there were even many students who were supporting the teachers for lesson preparation of the slides and all. Many students supported the teachers who were contributing for the lesson plans, the slides and all. Teachers were not very fast for, but we took the support of the students. And from students' side, the main problem which we faced was, for checking the learning outcome. And for checking the learning outcome, what we did is, the best methodology which I could identify was flipped learning. And that was the best one. I don't know how many of you might be agreeing to me. I don't know. When a teacher teaches, who learns? Majority of us feel that the students learn. But in reality, there is no learning happening among the students. Learning really happens for the teacher. So when does the student learn? What is happening when the teacher is teaching? When the teacher is teaching, in reality, the students are just listening and understanding. It's only listening and understanding. Then when does the learning happens? Learning happens when the child spends individualized, personalized learning time for preparation. So that personalized learning, how it has to happen, this was effectively done during the pandemic. I felt so, because they were doing learning of their own, preparing the key points, helping the teachers for making the lesson, slides. And then we asked them to have teaching challenge. So what they did is, even right from KG, I was really surprised. They were draped in saris and they started taking lessons. They had a board at home and they started taking lessons. It was really effective. And that was the time when we were able to understand the learning outcome. The personalized learning happened in that form. And since they were engaged in preparation, they were not affected. And same way, importance of the day. I don't think that on the daily lessons, daily time, when we were having structured classrooms, importance of the day, every day, honestly, I did not follow it. But I followed importance of every day. We didn't do that. But online, importance of every day, it is going much effectively than earlier. And for students also, when they did this teaching challenge, there were students who have done even more than 200 videos. And we even gave away the prizes for them. Annual day was being done. Annual day was being done as a blended form. Stage was set up. We allowed the students to come to the school, maintaining the COVID protocol. Audience will be just limited to 10 in an auditorium. And then they performed on the stage. It was recorded and it was telecasted. And those who are not able to come to school, they can do it at home. They can record and they can sit. And that annual day, all the celebrations was done online. And when they came, who wanted to come to school, we gave them time for coming to school, maintaining the COVID protocol. They came and they went around the school and all. And our school ground, which could not be utilized at all, was utilized for vegetable gardening, pumpkin and watermelons were been harvested from there, and that was been distributed to the students. When they came, they were being distributed with the vegetables, pumpkins, and all it was given. And same way, we also gave importance for Miyawaki forestry. That was really important. Now, at that time, we were not aware about this oxygen deficiency and all, but now it is really very, very effective. Now we are going ahead with a forest, miniature forest at every house. Our school, Siddhartha Center School in Kollam, is also a green campus, which is a Vanamitra Award recipient. School is having about 13 miniature forests. So like that, now we are extending this to every house, every student's house. So every student have now started with creating a miniature forest in their house. And they're giving importance for SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. And parents who had been working hard for the COVID, they were given COVID Warrior Award. Teachers were given COVID Warrior E-Guru Award. Students were given Teaching Challenge Award. Almost everybody, every child got prizes, certificate, trophies. They came to the for annual day. They were going back with loads of prizes, and that made them really happy. And we did not give the fee concession simply. We gave them the fee concession only when they did the teaching challenge, because only when they do the teaching challenge, the learning will happen. So when they did the teaching challenge, we gave them 10% fee concession. And there were many who have, depending upon the number of the videos.
We'll initiate that. Thank you very much for these wonderful ideas you have explored, and I'm very sure that you'll become a benchmark of quality practices during COVID. So I think people will now approach you on that ground. So great initiatives. And I believe parents need to have that recognition now, particularly because they have been the providers of classrooms of today. In fact, they're providing the digital environment, they are providing the students, they're providing the support as far as the hospitality of the children, is concerned. And above all, the food, the timely food, the care, the concern, everything is actually being arranged by the parents. So they need great recognition above all. And it is high time for all of us, we the educators, to also acknowledge their commitment, especially the mothers, for providing such a wonderful learning environment for their children at home. They have invested a lot as well. And that needs a little recognition for them. So kudos to your efforts, Sri Rekha ma'am. Wonderful. Now just a little
Thank you very much.
Round to each one of you. My question goes to Madam Suman Sood. How do you think that the parents need to be coordinated and represented in the whole scenario of teaching learning during the post or probably the COVID era?
Thank you for this question. I think we need to connect with parents because they are our partners in learning. And pre-COVID, we had been complaining, teachers, parents, teachers and schools, they especially had this complaint that parents take no interest. They are not bothered. We are sending circulars home. We are sending diaries. We are sending information, but none is being taken up seriously by the parent. We get no response. Even for the PTMs, parents were not coming. But now they have become our partners in learning for the child.
In teaching also, not only learning.
Also. Absolutely.
At times they are seated together with their boards to understand the way we are teaching.
Very true. And so now what basically, so that complaint that we had, that is no longer there. In fact, we are looking forward and we are so thankful to them for collaborating with us. As someone had said that we are celebrating everything online now. All the events are being celebrated online. We are having videos, we are having online learning and teaching. And for teachers also, in the beginning, it was very difficult, when they were teaching online. And along with the child, the parent was there to listen and to comment also. So for teachers, they were hesitant in the beginning, but parents have been very, very supportive. and they have tried to help in each and every possible way. And also for the schools, like, it is very important that we connect with them, keep them connected, because the child is the ultimate goal for the learning of the child. That is the ultimate goal for the parents as well as for the school. So in order to let the child benefit, we need to collaborate, and we need to make sure that we do things together, so that there is benefit for the learning of the child. And for in that respect, there are schools have developed apps where they keep the parents posted. I'm talking about our school also. We've developed a special app, and parents are all the time connected. And there is 24-hour interaction. Anytime the parents have the numbers of the teachers, there are WhatsApp groups, so they can connect with the teacher.
It's more like an extended family now, and this family is meeting quite often. I remember 4 years back, I went for a school audit, and there, when I was interacting with one of the parents, there was a demand that we need to have live streaming of what's happening in the classroom. I want to know my child's response in the classroom. And that became true today. The parent is able to watch the way the child reacts and the way the child is, doing in real time. So that's somebody anticipated, and it has become a reality today. So over to Seema ma'am now, since you also come from an IT background. Why the teachers are not using creativity is one of the questions by Dr. Kalpana Dikshit here. Why the teachers are not using creativity and various methods if teaching such dialogue, cooperative learning in pledges, except for the few that she wants to know. That why there is a little, strain in accepting the tech factor of it.
All right. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
So, see, teachers have always been, labeled as kind of not taking on to the technology, not from these days, as long as we have had the computers. And because they have been hardcore teachers who stand, who speak, who explain, who model everything in the classroom. So it took little time, but they grew into the use of technology. But this pandemic happened suddenly. It took the teachers by surprise. And schools had to conduct the training sessions for the teachers on, immediately. And their trainers were not so probably effective on the teachers. Time given to the teachers to prepare for these online classes were also not so this thing. So that time gap was there, that effective training was had not happened, and the situation was a little different. Teachers have got their homes also. So I think that initial hesitation was happening because of this, because like I as a teacher and many other teachers feel that teaching is not only conveying something online in written words, it actually means being with the child physically, motivating them, and just a small pat on the back of the child, just a smile to a child will change his entire day of learning. And this overnight change that teachers had to bring in was a little kind of a disaster. But I think now through the pandemic, now teachers have taken on, and they're doing great job now.
Yeah, they have become street smart now.
They have become smart, and they have learned very well from their students also. And they're growing well, doing well. But yes, initially it was very difficult for them.
That's true. That's true. Okay, coming back to Madam Sri Rekha, like you did mention about the way your school is engaging with the teachers and with the parents in a big way, with their presence and without their presence. For sure, I believe that particularly on the go, we need to understand that how best we are interacting with the students and how best we are interacting with the parent. comes to our very approach of getting things done through them, whether it is the fees part or whether it's making the child more attentive in the class, or getting some attributes towards finishing and uploading the assignments. So what are the challenges did you find as far as online delivery during COVID is concerned?
The challenges was first, most important challenge, which I still face, is assessment, sir. Assessment, till now, we have not come forward with any methodology for having a proper assessment done.
We're dealing with a smart generation, no? So the more we come up, they come with a shorter cut, and the challenge becomes back to us.
Exactly. So IT field, they have to do some methodology of a proper assessment to be done, where they should not be in a position to access any Google or anything and answer it effectively. A proper assessment, but it should not be a threatening assessment. A proper assessment is essential. I feel that is the most important challenge, which I am still facing. And that is what the result of the 10th and 12th board exam also, the same problem we are still facing. That's the main challenge which we face. Another important challenge, as every school might be facing, is fees. Giving fees, that problem exists. But there also, to certain extent, I must say from both the sides, there are many parents. There's a very good close relation of a manager with the parents, community, and the society as a whole. He is a social worker too. So there's a great connectivity. So there are many people who have given him money in lump sum, even our parents also. And they said,
yeah. Coming back to Shanoli, because we have to cover all the speakers. Shanoli Ray, ma'am, if you're there, listening to me. Yeah, just coming back to you, just a concern about teaching while parents are watching. So what has been the experience therein, because your primary and the pre-primary school children, they are assisted by the children with the parents, with their presence. So even you must be facing a lot of many challenges. Please unmute yourself, ma'am. Kindly unmute yourself. Yes, please.
Yes, Dr. Am I audible now?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, that is a huge problem because now as the pre-primary, especially for the pre-primary children, the parents do not want them to live with a computer or the mobile phones alone. So they always accompany those children. And they are there to, from the beginning, they were continuously interfering with the teaching process. But so we just come out with another solution that we separately make video presentation of all the things that the teachers are going to teach in the class. So this is happening for the pre-primary as well as the primary section also. They're also facing some this type of things.
So the teachers need to do a lot of extra work, preparing videos, dancing, and being a rock star.
And separately, we are sending to the parents to make them understand what exactly the process of teaching that is going on.
I know it's a very difficult task, and you have to really do a lot of research for that. So thank you very much. Vinita ma'am, over to you to reflect on the priorities we need to do as heads of schools.
Again, Dr. Dheeraj, I would come back to the same thing that number one, give voice to the children. They need to be open about whatever they are going through. Like the mental well-being should be the type, I would say it should be the top priority. Get them to talk to their teachers. And yes, the support, probably the moral support which the parents want at this time. Of course, there has been a great challenge for them as well. So that moral support, if the school could provide, there have been cases where they probably, we know the economically they might have suffered. So there also they need a little support from the school. I think we can be a little compassionate there for them. And of course, you have to be there with your teachers. It's a new, challenge. Every day is a new challenge for them. They have probably scaled through this wonderfully, and to let the ship go, in the journey forward, you need to be, providing a lot of training opportunities, encouraging them, rewarding them, And I think it won't be a big team. You will be able to manage that.
That's true. That's true. Okay, Sonia ma'am, if you're there around, please switch on your video. Yeah. So what are your attributes to it? How we are prepared for the preparedness to cater to the best as expected by our parents?
I follow Vinita ma'am's advice, sir, and we really need to be empathetic and compassionate to deal with this scenario. And as a human being, we have to accept the pain and reality, and I think we will be able to manage the situation.
That's it. That's so very much. So it's 2:44. We have Shekhar sir to take over now. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you for allowing us to be in the chat mode, interactive mode. Now over to you. We gathered the catering the best way possible, and I'm sure our viewers are going to go with a great takeaway from all the deliberations which we have had on the best to the learning and the best to the expectations, what parents demand these days, and what we are there for. Thank you very much, all the wonderful speakers, and I look forward to meeting you all in near future as well. Thanks, ScooNews and Mr. Ravi for this wonderful coordination, organization, and kudos to you. God bless everybody. Over to you, Shekhar sir.
Yeah, Dr. Dheeraj, thank you so much. Fascinating discussion. First of all, Ravi, his wife, his children are recovering from a bad bout of COVID. So I spoke to him for a few seconds in the morning. He was panting, but thankfully they are on the recovery mode.
Yes.
But hearing all of you, it was great. I learned a great deal, from vaccine challenge to parental challenge to teacher challenge. Great stories coming up. But I have maybe, a couple of minutes. One question, and since I moderated a panel discussion in the first round, to each one of you, maybe a one-sentence answer if you can give me. Aren't we overdoing the teacher as warrior story? First to Dr. Mehrotra, because teacher as a warrior, soldier, great. I'm a soldier, I'm a teacher. 15 अगस्त हो गया, 26 जनवरी हो गया, उसके बाद अभी 5 सितंबर हो गया, जय हो. उसके बाद सीमा भटनागर से लड़ाई करो, तुम कैसे फीस बढ़ाओगे? Who are you to ask?
Sir,
give me back.
After the soldier in you, we are seeing it in action through our teachers. So one soldier came in the education world through Lieutenant Colonel Shekhar, and you have had so much of spectrum and that particular wave among all of us that we are now going to be targeting that very notion through our teachers as soldiers. They need that recognition, sir, as one of the questions was there, like why teaching cannot be treated as white collar job.
That's right.
So it's going to be one of the top representatives, after doctors and nurses.
Sorry to interrupt you. I have a different point. I am all for what you said, the lovely moderation, the question. Our problem is, just like Bombay.
I know.
Bombay mein jab barish aa jati hai, everyone says the strength of the Mumbaikar. The Mumbaikar is strong. As Shobha said, that's a whole lot of bullshit. Hamari struggle hum hi to jante hain. My point is very simple. Teachers under the greatest of stress have really gone beyond the call of duty.
No doubt.
Fine. But in this context, what is happening is we are allowing ourselves to be taken for granted.
Yes.
Kuch bhi ho, ye log kaam karenge. And I think that we have shown, you see the others, whether it is Baba Ramdev or the Indian Medical Association, they scream blue murder. My basic point is the teacher as a warrior is a great story. But the teacher as a warrior, the principal as even a bigger general, gives you a few likes on Facebook, but does not put food on the table. I'm just making a point for all of us to understand. That's a significant point to get it through. So that's my one point. My other question to all of you, from wherever you are, in this socio-emotional, cultural, economic thing which we talked about, what is the one challenge you faced? Can we have one sentence answers? Dr. Mehrotra at the end. Let me start off with Shanoli Ray. What was the one?
Sir, emotional challenge we faced.
Emotional.
Challenge we faced.
Your wife fought with you, sir, or what else was it? No, give me an example.
Sir, basically, as I said, that the emotional support, we thought that this is the opportunity and we should grab with the two hands, along with the teachers, along with the students. Nobody actually thought that is it possible? Can I make it a small it? Right. Yeah. So that emotional disturbance is created, yes. And the teachers have learned one thing. We say, sir, I was in Air Force, Air Warrior. We never said no. Same has gone to the teacher also. Never said no. No matter how trouble you.
That's why the one rank, one pension is still stuck. Upar to baat kar liya. What I'm trying to say is, as a soldier, we never say no. I'm a soldier, exactly. As well as now an educator, teacher. We don't say no as a teacher. Oh, 5 September ko bhool aa jayega, sab kuch aa jayegi, agle din 30% pay bhi cut hoga. So my basic point, we require to look at it more holistically. Yes. We require to, because the innovations each one of you suggested, somebody talked about how different levels of students are going to come in. Somebody talked about the learning gaps. It was fascinating. Good. Yeah, Sri Rekha Prasad, your biggest challenge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
At present, current is not there. Sir, can you hear your question once again, sir?
Yeah, the point is, what yes, was the biggest challenge you have faced over the last year and a half dealing with teachers, students, and parents?
So, as I said earlier, first important challenge is assessment itself, and collection of fees, another important challenge. Okay. Training the teachers.
One point, only 1 point, because baki log naraz ho jayenge, madam.
So, yeah. Training the teachers.
Training the teachers. Okay. Yes. Right. Sonia Gandhi. What a name.
Sir, I face the emotional challenge.
Emotional challenges, fair. Shanoli Ray.
Yeah, for me, it is financial challenge. Because
next, yeah. You see the variety coming in. Yeah. I'm just only wanting this variety coming in, how we look at those challenges. Suman Sood.
For teachers to connect and see everything all together, their household, their emotional challenges and their teaching challenges, online challenges, and to connect with children physically, especially for young children. It is very important to connect with them physically and to bond with them. But having said so, I feel teachers are dreamers. And they will keep dreaming on, and they will make sure that their children dream and achieve success. And sir, as my one-liner, ending statement is that sapne dekho aur unhe sakar karo, and then you will know where you.
Madam, when we talk about advertisement, we call them the hidden persuaders. I'm all for what you say. I'm an optimist myself. My own point is, to get to the bottom of it, somebody has said, no free time for a teacher. There is, please give us me times. When you talked about the challenges of a teacher, I talk about the prestige CT time and the husband's chai time, which now adds on when you are at home. Benita Patania, your point. I can't hear you. Please unmute yourself.
Sorry, sir. Student attendance was also one of the major problems for us.
Attendance, yeah. I have had children logging in as Osama bin Laden. Life is interesting. Seema Patnagar.
I think the fee has been a very big issue, persuading the parents to pay the fee.
A big issue.
That's one of the biggest issues.
Yes. Dr. Dheeraj, you have moved to Guwahati recently. With all your experience, what is your take? The biggest challenge, for you is a special question. The biggest challenge facing school leaders.
Yes, to re-energize students at a time when you see the class dynamic is shifting and the energy level is dropping.
Right. Fair enough. And I've always said that a teacher is first a mother, then a daughter-in-law, then a spouse. And now all this put together, she's also a teacher from the office. From home, she works. So what really happens is we have had a large number of teachers taking their videos in their storerooms because family members had challenges. So in this context, the teacher coming to the school is what I'm desperate for, because those 6 or 7 hours, she is at peace with herself. No prestige pressure cookers, city bajao, no tea being asked, no son running up asking for pakoda. So that is significant more challenge, because people like us, when you ask my wife, what does Shekhar do in the kitchen? She responded to one of the generals, Shekhar approximately knows the location of the kitchen. Can you imagine what my boss thought about me? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nowadays, somebody has written teacher is a psychologist. Yes, of course.
For
The
sure.
teacher is everything today. So that's why I'm saying for all the work today, the nurse who is at the front end of treating the patients of COVID, for all the stories we talk about Florence Nightingale, the payment they get is abysmal. Similar situation often teachers go through, so we require to sell ourselves a lot better. With these words, I thank each and every one of you. It's been a wonderful discussion. Thank you. And thanks to Dr. Dheeraj for expertly getting the discussion onto the right spots.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much. God bless everybody. God bless.
Thank you, everyone. It was really
Thank you very much, sir.
Brainstorming.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just summarizing now. Tomorrow we have 3 sessions. There is a session which is going to talk about vaccination. Imagine Dr. Dheeraj in charge of vaccination in Guwahati. That's what is going to happen. I'm just talking about reality.
Sir, I'm after my staff to get vaccinated, pulling them every day.
It's right, sir. The challenge is, except for 2 states, Gujarat and Punjab, teachers are not frontline workers. You want them to conduct exams, no vaccination. So it's a challenge. So that's one topic. Another one is on hybrid learning, which is very, very important, because you are taking a class live, you are taking a class off live, you are taking a class recorded live. All have got different, as Sri Rekha Prasad said, different evaluation and assessment challenges. And the last one, the most important, the VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous world. How do all of you, do we confuse that Sonia Gandhi for this Sonia Gandhi, and how does she tackle her challenges? So there are some good sessions.
The much needed in the VUCA world, how to cater to the needs is a priority, sir.
No. On the lighter side, with a wife like mine, VUCA world is already done. That's easier handled everywhere else. VUCA
unconsciously, yeah, we did that.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so very much.
So tomorrow, join up. And tomorrow there will be, for the moderator, a 15-minute summary of all 6 sessions. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.